Kid on the block. The emerging star of this championship, 15-year-old Mary Ellen Blanchard. We'll be seeing her in the women's 100-yard breaststroke. Let's join Ron Thulin and John Neighbor on the campus of the University of North Carolina.
Thank you very much, Craig Sager, and we welcome you to the Corey Natatorium on the campus of the University of North Carolina for the U.S. Swimming National Short Course Championships. And a very pleasant good evening, everybody. I'm Ron Thulin, and joining me, Olympic gold medal winner John Neighbor. John, this is the first post-Olympic competition for a lot of these young swimmers. How important is it?
Without a doubt, Ron, this is the most important meet of the year for athletes not in college. High schoolers and graduates are all vying for this national championship. We've got over a dozen Olympians in the crowd, and all those high schoolers are swimming their best to try to catch the eye of college coaches that are in the audience ready to recruit next year's crop. It's a big meet.
Indeed it is. We have seen a number of great swimmers in this meet. The most prominent name, of course, is Janet Evans, but we have heard names that we're going to hear years to come.
Absolutely right. One of the rising stars that's just appeared on the horizon this year, young Mary Ellen Blanchard, who didn't just break, shattered the American record in the 200-yard breaststroke, erasing the great name of Tracy Calkins from the books. We'll see her swimming more this meet and a lot more in the years to come.
And the numbers on the women's 100-yard breaststroke, the American record held by Mary Blanchard in a time of 1:01.08. The U.S. Open record held by Tracy McFarland in 1:51. In lane 1, a 16-year-old out of Roseville, California, Summer Sanders. In lane 2, it's Christy Richardson out of San Jose, California, and she swims for Santa Clara Swim Club. In lane 3, from Poland, Beta Kazuba, who swims for the Mission Viejo Swim Club. In lane 4, there's our favorite, Mary Ellen Blanchard, 15 years old, out of Norcross, Georgia, a suburb of Atlanta. And in lane 5, Tracy McFarland, the 22-year-old, out of Palm Springs, California. In lane 6, Brooke Hanley out of San Rafael, California. She is just 17 years old. In lane 7, Erica Jude out of Lakewood, Colorado. And rounding out our field for the women's 100-yard breaststroke, it's Amy Cavanaugh in lane 8, 16-year-old out of Dunwoody, Georgia, also swimming for the Dynamo Swim Club.
It's a great name because Mary Ellen is a Dynamo and so is Amy. This is going to be an interesting race because the top two qualifiers both hold the record in this event. The American record broken by this woman here, Mary Ellen Blanchard, in the preliminaries this morning. She also blasted the 200 breaststroke record earlier in the meet. And next to her is Tracy McFarland in lane 5. Tracy was an Olympian in 1988 for the U.S., but in 1987 she was a Canadian citizen. Didn't get the American citizenship, but she shattered the American record, so she has the U.S. Open record in this event. So it's kind of interesting to see the U.S. Open record holder in 5, the American record holder in 4, and this is the real rivalry going on right here.
Exactly that. Mary Ellen Blanchard, quite a bloodline for the young lady from Georgia. Her grandfather, back in 1945, won the Heisman Trophy. Doc Blanchard is Mary Ellen's grandfather, and her father was an All-American tight end right here at North Carolina.
Certainly a hometown favorite right here.
Exactly that, and she has really won the hearts of the crowd, just like Janet Evans did in Seoul. Mary Ellen Blanchard has sort of turned into the media darling number 2.
In fact, it's going to help Janet Evans to have someone else carry the burden of responsibility of breaking records here.
We are set for the women's 100-yard breaststroke.
Men's 100-yard breaststroke. Take your mark.
Now, Tracy McFarland, lane 5, counting from the bottom of the pool here. She's in the black cap, came up right there in the middle. She goes out quickly. She's a sprinter. Mary Ellen is more the distance breaststroker, so we'll probably try to run her down.
Tracy McFarland said she trains just about once a day, has really not hit the full stride of training, but she would like that American record. That is something that she has set her sights on and wouldn't mind adding to the U.S. Open record.
Well, it's very close at this point, so that does not look good for Tracy. It does look good for Mary Ellen.
Mary Ellen Blanchard, just a sophomore in high school, won the 200-yard breast on Wednesday night.
We're on our way to a new American and U.S. Open record is my guess. Mary Ellen and Tracy both turned ahead of U.S. Open pace. Mary Ellen looks completely dominant at this point. Look how strong she is. She can lift her entire body out of the water. And I think the crowd senses a new record.
And here she comes. It is Mary Ellen Blanchard. Tracy McFarland second. Does Blanchard have it? Yes, she touches the wall. In a new record, is it?
Not a U.S. Open, but a new American record. A new American record, which means that Tracy McFarland's U.S. Open record stands. The American record falls a second time in one day. Mary Ellen showing that not only is she consistent, she's consistently frightening how quickly she goes.
Exactly that.
Let's take a look at her. Mary Ellen in the white cap. Nice, smooth stroke. Very strong and powerful kick. McFarland in the black cap to her right is very close to her, and that's a good swim for a woman who's only training once a day. But still, Mary Ellen is the future of American women's breaststroke. Look at that. Strong power. She squeezes her elbows together on the recovery, gets her body out of the water. Oh, she's looking for the finish line. She's just concentrating on that wall. Beautiful control.
Her first of two events. She almost has to be tired, though, John. Wouldn't you expect? She had a long morning this morning in the preliminaries.
And she's got a difficult double. You're right. She's going to swim in the top qualifier in the 200 individual medley later in the meet.
There we see the new American record by Mary Ellen Blanchard, just 15 years old, and definitely the future of American swimming. And Tracy McFarland finishing second. Beata Kazuba finishes third. We'll be back with more of the U.S. National Short Course Championships from North Carolina right after this.
5, 6, 7, and dance. Get on your feet. Feel the fire. Feel the heat. And move to the groove of the beat. 2, 3, 4. I can't stop it. I bebop it. For this kind of thirst, you just can't top it. I can't beat it. Coca-Cola Classic. Can't beat the feeling.
Nobody offers low prices combined with the highest quality under one roof, like your 185 Southland Ford dealers. Think Ford first for value, with 9 Fords priced under $99.99. All equipped with air conditioning, stereo, and more. 9 under $99.99. And that includes cash back from Ford. Most are available with 4.9% financing. Quality, price, styling, value, all under one roof. At any one of your 185 Southland Ford dealers now.
Here's the leader in compact trucks, Ford Ranger, with important advantages that Chevy and Toyota don't have.
Go with the leader.
You're in four-wheel drive at the touch of a button. Only Ranger 4x4 gives you this advanced system, standard.
Go with the leader.
And Ranger beats Chevy S10 in standard horsepower and torque. It's today's best-selling compact truck.
Go with the leader. Ford trucks.
Get 4.9% financing or up to $750 cash bonus on 89 Rangers.
For 17 days in the summer of 1990, the greatest athletes in the world will unite in Seattle. Running, jumping, vaulting, throwing, swimming, scoring, spiking, spinning, and slamming to victory. These are the Goodwill Games. Seattle, 1990. Uniting the world's best.
The men's 200-yard butterfly, the American and the U.S. Open record held by Pablo Morales back in April of 1987 in a time of 142.6. And we have a field tonight, an international field. As we take a look at our lane assignments, Brad Budney, a senior at Montclair High School in Montclair, New Jersey, will be swimming in lane 1. In lane 2, also a senior in high school out of Franklin, Tennessee, is Chaz Morton, 17 years old. And from Hungary, one of our 2 international competitors this evening, Tomas Darny of Budapest, Hungary, a 21-year-old who swims for Central Sports of Hungary, will be in lane 3. In lane 4, it's Anthony Nesty, the 21-year-old from Suriname. In lane 5, we have Brian Gunn, 18 years old from Hinsdale, Illinois. And in lane 6, swimming for the Longhorn Club out of Madison, New Jersey, it is 23-year-old Rob Jones. And Matija Kozel, 19-year-old from Yugoslavia, will be in lane 7. And rounding out our field in lane 8, from Northport, New York, we have Mike Hanley.
It's going to be a very interesting race. 8 lengths of the pool butterfly. This is a difficult one. It really requires a lot of endurance because on the recovery, you got to get your shoulders and your elbows out of the water. This is the man, most interesting story of the recent Olympics. Anthony Nesty from Suriname, of all places, upsets Matt Biondi for the Olympic gold medal in the 100-meter butterfly. And now he's entered and qualified tops in the 200-meter event. He doesn't have it easy, though, because on his side in lane number 3, You got Thomas Darneen. Thomas is the double gold medalist in the individual medley events from Hungary last year at the Olympic Games. He was disqualified in the 400 IM earlier in the meet for a mental lapse, so he's got something to prove. He's a little bit angry, and this is not out of line to assume he could win this race. They qualified relatively close to each other.
In fact, he told the press through an interpreter that he will swim mad tonight, whatever that means.
Well, he's got something to prove because he didn't get a shot in his best event. And honestly, this is not Anthony Nesty's best event either.
200 yards, butterfly. Take your mark.
We are going to keep our eyes on lane 3 and 4, but 3 of the American finalists in this event are high school students, so that gives the Americans a bright future.
Does indeed. We could use it. Pablo Morales is one tough individual to replace. It was probably the greatest disappointment for the U.S. swim team to have Pablo not qualify for the Olympic squad. He trimmed the team to 2 athletes per event, and Pablo got 3rd. He didn't make it.
Right now it is Anthony Nesty and Brian Gunn. Great American future for swimmers.
23.5 the split right there for Nesty, and that's about half a second slower than Morales' American record pace.
It is still Nesty on the turn.
Nesty looks very strong. You can just see him swing his arms around. His head comes out so that his chin is just above the waterline. Takes a deep breath and heads back in the water.
Anthony Nesty is sophomore at the University of Florida.
50.36 unofficial split at the 100. That's a 1.5 seconds behind American record pace.
Rob Jones in lane 6 out of New Jersey, swimming for the Longhorn Club. Also trying to stay with Nesty.
Doesn't look like Darney is going to be a factor in this race. He's dropped way back off the pace, and he's looking somewhat sluggish. So the race is going to develop in 4, our leader. 5 and 6 on the other side of him. 11.17 at the turn. That's about a second slower than American record pace. But this is where Nesty caught Biondi, the back half. He really accelerates coming home.
Brian Gunn in lane 5 was 6th in a 200-meter fly at the Olympic trials last summer. Is trying to keep pace with Anthony Nesty in lane 4. But it is Anthony Nesty. Gunn trying to catch him, but Anthony Nesty touches the wall first with Brian Gunn of the United States from Hinsdale, Illinois, winding up second.
Boy, he really gained a lot of distance there. Gunn finishing only 0.2 of a second behind the eventual winner, Anthony Nesty. Beautiful control, a lot of strength, a lot of flexibility in his shoulders. Take a look at that stroke at the end of 200. I mean, it's just like lifting barbells at full extension for 2 full minutes. That's what his shoulders have to have gone through to do this. And look at this beautiful control. Nice strong kick, good finish. Looks immediately to his left where the scoreboard is to check out the time. 146 low. That's a good swim. Look here. He keeps his head close to the surface of the water. This is beautiful control. And as his head is coming down in the water, his hips are coming up. Nice swim. Anthony Nesty, national champion.
As we take a look at the results, and Anthony Nesty was a gold medalist in the '87 Pan Am Games. He wins tonight's men's 200-yard butterfly in a time of 146.02. Brian Gunn is second, and Chaz Morton finishes third.
Today's leader in big pickups, Ford.
That is a young lady the United States is looking to replace, John.
That's correct. With the retirement of Madam Butterfly, Mary T. Maher has left a huge void. She was so dominant for over a decade. The only person to come close to her was Angel Myers. And as you may recall, last year she failed to pass her drug test at the Olympic trials and therefore has been asked not to compete at this meet, or rather in this league, if you will, until 1990.
Let's take a look at the lane assignments. We have quite a field. Mindy Gears will be in lane 1. Julia Gorman in lane 2. In lane 3, it is Grace Cornelius. And Whitney Hedgepeth will be in lane 4. Lane 5, we have Paige Wilson. Jenny Thompson in lane 6 out of Dover, New Hampshire. Angie Wester Craig in lane 7. And in lane 8, Laura DeVore out of Orange Park, Florida.
Whitney will be tough to beat because this is a good distance and a good stroke for her. She is also the top qualifier. Jenny Thompson in lane 6 won the 100-yard freestyle earlier in the meet, so this is a good distance for her. The question is, can she do it in the butterfly? You see her there in the green cap. Jenny Thompson, a very determined young woman. And she was the winner of the 50 freestyle at the Pan American Games, so she's got explosive speed. Good start by lane 3. Yellow cap 3 from the bottom. Grace Cornelius. Don't count her out. She's a very strong swimmer at this distance as well, and has shown explosive speed too.
Yeah, she placed 4th in the 200-yard free here on Wednesday and tied for 5th in the 100-yard free last night. We mentioned Jenny Thompson. Interesting story. Her mother told us today that when she was like 9 years old, you spoke to her and talked about setting goals, and that has been something she has lived by the last couple of years.
And we're watching her almost to the wall first in the green cap at the top. That's Jenny right there at the bare right corner of the screen. 25 and change, 25.5 at the turn. It's half a second off the record, but it's still a great race. Look at those people turning even. That's what we talked about. What a thrilling finish this is going to be.
We had an idea this was going to happen in the preliminaries. It is lane 6. It is Jenny Thompson. Can she hold on in lane 4, 5? All touched at once. Let's see. Lane 4.
By 2/100ths of a second.
Whitney Hedgepeth.
Wow, what a great finish. What a beautiful finish that was. And if Jenny didn't have such a hard time on that 50-yard turn, she had a little bit of a hard time turning there. But let's take a look at the finish. You're going to see Jenny Thompson in the green cap at the top of the screen. Look at that lead she's got coming into the wall. And as she reaches around, Whitney just takes a long underwater glide and a strong kick and touches 2/100ths of a second faster.
Well, she won the 200-yard free earlier this week, and she adds the 100-yard butterfly this evening.
Here she comes to the finish, dives down. Watch this. Saw that little shoulder shrug. That's how she brings her arms around, and she just stays down. There's a slight sculling motion with her hands, and decides to straighten out and reach for the wall.
As we take a look at the results for the women's 100-yard butterfly, Whitney Hedgepeth in a time of 54.17. Jenny Thompson winds up 2nd, and Grace Cornelius, swimming in lane 3, finishes 3rd, the 16-year-old from Newton Square, Pennsylvania. The results for the women's 100-yard butterfly.
Thanks, Ron. We'll be back with more from the Short Course Nationals in a few moments. The Olympic ideal is not based on winning and losing, but on the essence of competition. That same ideal is the foundation of the Special Olympics, the winter version of which will take place next month at the site of the 1960 Winter Olympics in Squaw Valley. The Olympic torch is on its way after being transferred this week from the Eternal Flame in Los Angeles. Chet Hancock was there for the transfer ceremony.
Rafer Johnson on the left still looks as trim and fit as he did in winning the 1960 Olympic Decathlon Championship in Rome. It was gold in Rome and a silver decathlon medal for Johnson in the 1956 Olympic Games. Since those days of glory and dedication to the sport, he has quietly but diligently devoted much of his private and public life to helping others.
I think I owe a great deal of any successes that I had, both on and off the field of competition, to the fact that people helped me. There were some people concerned about young people, maybe concerned about Rafer Johnson specifically, and was willing to put in some time and effort. And because of that, I always think it's important that I give something back. We all should give something back.
When I caught up with Rafer recently, true to his lifestyle, he was giving something back. The site was the Amateur Athletic Foundation of Los Angeles, California. For the past 20 years, Johnson has been deeply involved with the California Special Olympics. Currently, he is the president of the CSO. On this day, Johnson, the young Special Olympians, and a representative of the California Highway Patrol shared the lighting of a Special Olympic torch from the eternal flame which burns continuously here at the Amateur Athletic Foundation. After a symbolic jog around the courtyard gardens here, the flame was flown to San Francisco by the California Highway Patrol. Hundreds of law enforcement officers running in relays over a 10-day period will carry the torch first around the bay, then through Northern California to Squaw Valley, and the opening ceremonies there April 2nd of this year's Special Winter Olympic Games.
It doesn't really take much to, inspire people or help people to get over a hump, to let them know that that there are people interested in them. And I think that if you do that, and you do it on a regular basis, you can in fact make some impact. I think that we as a society could be a much more of a giving society, much more of a giving group of people. And I think we need to be more concerned even today with, in fact much more today, with how other people's lives could be made better, and not always be thinking about how our own life can be made better. And I think because of that, my life's been pretty good.
The honor of lighting a torch is not a new experience for Rafer Lewis Johnson. You remember 1984, the Summer Olympics in Los Angeles at the Coliseum. Rafer Johnson climbing 100 steps and then lighting the Olympic torch. Rafer Lewis Johnson, one of the world's greatest athletes and citizens, always, always giving something back.
The Special Olympics will be televised here on Superstation TBS Sunday night, April 9th at 7 p.m. Ron Thulin and Liz Wickersham will be your hosts. Still ahead, more from the U.S. Short Course Nationals in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, where Mary Ellen Blanchard, the granddaughter of a Heisman Trophy winner, continues to make her name in record fashion. Let's go back to Ron Thulin and John Neighbor.
The women's 200-yard individual medley is our next event. From the Corey Natatorium in North Carolina, the American and U.S. Open records held by Tracy Calkins back in 1984. And we take a look at our lane assignments this evening. This could be probably the most competitive field. We have Garland O'Keefe in lane 1 out of St. Louis, Missouri. From Connecticut in lane 2, it is Lauren Curtis. Brooke Hanley in lane 3. Mary Ellen Blanchard in 4. Summer Sanders will take on lane 5. In lane 6, Jenny McGrath. In lane 7, we have Jenny Thompson. And in lane 8, we have Mindy Gears.
You know, this is an interesting event. 2 lengths of the pool in each of the 4 competitive strokes. Mary Ellen Blanchard, you see her there, scored her 2nd victory in this meet less than an hour ago. This is what we call a difficult double. And so she's having to come back again, and fortunately for her, I should say, that 4 of the athletes in this field have also competed less than an hour previously. So that pretty well evens it out. She, though, is trying to go for the American record. Tracy Calkins currently holds it in the IM. Remember, 2 strokes: butterfly, backstroke, breaststroke, and freestyle. It changes the strokes. You change the strengths and weaknesses of the swimmers, so the lead should change. It'll be an exciting event.
And we are set for the women's 200-yard IM.
200 yards individual medley. Take your mark.
Little bit slow off the blocks for Mary Ellen Blanchard. Don't know how much that'll hurt her, though. She's in lane 4, counting from the bottom. Breaststroke is her strong suit. That'll be the 3rd stroke she enters.
There are a lot of technical parts of this, John, that some of our viewers might not be aware of. When you turn, when you're changing strokes, you have to be careful because you've got to make sure you do it a certain way or you could be disqualified.
Big surprise, Julia Gorman is not in this field, although she swam quick enough to do so. In the preliminaries, in the back-to-breast turn, she forgot which stroke she was on, so she came off on her back when she should have come off on her stomach, and the officials called her out for that. So indeed, you are careful for all the technical things going on.
Well, 4th from the top of your screen in lane 5, it is Summer Sanders, a 16-year-old out of Roseville, California, was 2nd in the 400 IM on Wednesday night.
Behind the legendary Janet Evans. So Summer's got some strength herself, youngster at 16 years of age, but even younger is lane 5 at 15, Mary Ellen Blanchard.
Well, it is Mary Ellen Blanchard, Summer Sanders, and Jenny McGrath from Knoxville, Tennessee, a freshman at the University of Tennessee, in lane 6 with the orange cap. As we take a look at the 3 top ladies so far.
Here comes a big breaststroke leg, though. Remember, they turned even. Now Mary Ellen's got half a body length to lead. Going quickly to a full body length.
She comes up high. We've seen different styles of this stroke.
Now, one of the things Tracy Calkins did in setting the record was turn in a humongous freestyle leg. And the big question is, can Mary Ellen do that herself? World record, American record pace is 129.15. She's about a full second slower than that. So she's got to outsplit a very remarkable freestyle split. She went 33.3 in the breaststroke, Mary Ellen just did, and that's a good split. Faster than Tracy Calkins did in the breaststroke by a full second.
Summer Sanders still running number 2, but it is Mary Ellen Blanchard again, and she has become quite a crowd favorite here in North Carolina. And she will win the women's 200-yard individual medley. Mary Ellen Blanchard.
Not an American record, but a remarkable performance. Look at the exhaustion, absolute fatigue on that woman. Fantastic race by her.
So Mary Ellen Blanchard, who set an American record earlier this evening, she wins the women's 200-yard individual medley. The only challenge that she was able to get was from Summer Sanders and from Jenny McGrath midway through the race. But as John Neighbors mentioned, the breaststroke was the stroke that won it for Mary Ellen Blanchard this evening. She took the lead during the 2 lengths of the breaststroke and was able to hold on through the freestyle, and this is her strongest suit. And this evening she showed why, as Mary Ellen Blanchard has won the 200-yard IM, and only Tracy Calkins has ever been faster in this race. As we take a look at the sophomore out of Norcross, Georgia, swimming for the Dynamo Swim Club, a suburb of Atlanta. We've talked so much about Janet Evans, but it has been this young lady that has captured the hearts of the people in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, Mary Ellen Blanchard. Now let's go to John Neighbor, who's with Mary Ellen. John?
Mary Ellen, congratulations on a fantastic swim, Mary Ellen. I don't know how you've got the strength to smile, much less win a national title on a double like you just did. Where did you draw that strength?
Where I get it from, I don't know, but I'm just so excited that I could do 2 events like tonight and keep my strength up. I think it's just the excitement of weighing 100 breaststroke and then coming right to 200 IM, which I love 200 IM, and I enjoy swimming it. That's one of the reasons I think why I won tonight.
Are you prepared to handle the responsibility of team leadership by being the fastest American ever?
I think I'm ready for it. I've been waiting for about a year to not be as fast, but come up in the standings. I think I can handle it.
Well, congratulations for erasing Tracy Calkins' name in 2 breaststrokes and almost in the IM as well. Good swim.
Thank you very much, John. A very poised 15-year-old Mary Ellen Blanchard, the winner of the 200 IM. As we take a look at the final results, Summer Sanders finishes second and Jenny McGrath winds up third. And we'll return to the Corey Natatorium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina right after this.
She's the girl of my dreams. She taught me what real love means. You can't beat it. The feeling you get when your love is the real thing. Hi, Daddy. Can't beat the feeling.
Coca-Cola Classic. You can't beat the feeling.
Sportstown, the biggest name in sporting goods. Every price guaranteed low. Every name a brand name. Like the LA Gear B424 high-top shoe for men. Lightweight cushioning, mini support features, and classic LA Gear styling. And get the Huffy Graphite Slam Jam backboard with elevator instant adjust pull system for durability and performance.
The biggest name in sporting goods. Sportstown.
America's sports headquarters.
Morning, Dad.
Morning, girls. How does Davy Johnson manage? Sometimes better than others. Believe me, I need all the help I can get. So I've got this computer, and with Prodigy on it, it helps me manage my life better. With Dow Jones here, I keep track of all my good stocks. You know, here I can send a message to my wife. I just hit a couple buttons and find out it's sunny in Chicago.
Prodigy from a partnership of IBM and Sears.
And I can buy stocks and get my groceries delivered from Kroger.
Prodigy. See it at a dealer near you.
Stop, look, and listen. Today, Neil Pope Dodge has cut prices on 500 Dodge cars and trucks. Many vehicles priced under $6,000, like a new Dodge Colt, $59.95. Or look at the #1 selling Caravan, priced from $12,995. And listen to this, full-size conversion vans reduced as low as $13,995. Everything available with 0 down payment. Stop, look, and listen, but don't wait. Rush to Neil Pope Dodge on Buford Highway now.
Sunday, masters of the NASCAR circuit battle for position in the Pontiac Excitement 400. 105 Eastern on the Superstation, Sunday.
Biondi holds both the American and the U.S. Open records in our next event, which is the men's 100-yard freestyle. He did it back in 1987, just about 2 years ago. Let's take a look at our field tonight. A University of Texas graduate, Rob Jones, a 23-year-old, will be swimming in lane 1. Steve Crocker will be in lane 2 out of St. Louis, Missouri. He is currently a graduate assistant at the University of Kentucky. And John Kepler, a 21-year-old out of Mission Viejo, California, will be in lane 3 this evening. One of the favorites, Doug Boyd, an Indiana University graduate back in 1986, will be in lane 4. Lane 5, one of his stiffest competitions, will come from 22-year-old Jim Harvey, a graduate of Bucknell University. Lane 6, it'll be Eric Hansen, a graduate of Iowa State, currently lives in Tucson, Arizona. And in lane 7, with the nouveau hairdo, Eric Maurer, an 18-year-old out of Illinois. and he swims for the Lake Forest Swim Club. And rounding out our field in lane 8, it is Scott Jaffe, a 19-year-old who lives in Lexington, Massachusetts, and swims for Boston Scrod, which is an interesting story in itself, and hopefully we will have time to tell you about that. Lane 4, Doug Boyd. Lanes 2 through 6, John, you would consider any one of those possible winner tonight?
In the short sprints like this, it's really hard to predict a winner. Those lanes 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all right in the thick of it in terms of their times off the preliminary heat. In a sprint, starting is critical, and good turns are critical.
Once again, lane 1 on the bottom of your screen up to lane 8. Men's 100-yard freestyle.
Take your mark.
Once again, a good start.
You want to see these swimmers try to pull themselves onto the top of the water so that they're not swimming through the water, but rather on top. So you see them climbing to the surface and pressing down with their hands as well as pulling back.
Well, it is Steve Crocker in lane 2, and also Doug Boyd apparently running 1-2.
Steve Crocker's the oldest swimmer in the field, so he should know better than to go out faster than he's able to bring it home. He looks in good control. See how his hands extend once they enter the water.
It looks like Doug Boyd has made up some ground. He is currently leading. Doug Boyd in lane 4, the 24-year-old out of Massachusetts. It is Doug Boyd and Jim Harvey. Now it is Jim Harvey with a slight lead, and does he get it? Yes, unofficially 43.85, John.
Not as fast as they swam in the preliminary heats, but that is to be expected. When you swim well in a preliminary heat, there's nobody near you on either side. In a championship final, the whole field is right with you, and it changes the attitude of the swimmers.
Where did Doug Boyd lose it?
Well, essentially, he just kind of faded a little bit, starting at the halfway back there, about 85 meters. But you see the finish touch. He had his head out of the water, looking down the field, knowing that his competition was going to be on his left. Harvey was watching Boyd all the way to the wall.
22-year-old Jim Harvey, currently training in New Jersey and Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, swims for the New Jersey Wave, picks up the victory this evening in the men's 100-yard freestyle, unofficially 43.85. Our next event is the 1,000-yard freestyle, and the name we have talked so much about is up next. That is Janet Evans. Now, John, you have been through it. You've won the gold medal. You've had to face all the attention that goes with it. What has that 17-year-old had to go through the last couple of months?
It has to be brutal, because with Matt Biondi's retirement, she is America's only returning champion in an individual event, and so she carries the burden of leadership, responsibility of leading U.S. swimming into the next decade. Just a 17-year-old high school senior, she's encountered the press interviews, the media crunch, the autographs, and everyone still expects her to swim to new American and world records. So that's a lot of pressure on a youngster. It'll be interesting to see how she handles it.
Well, John, we had a chance to spend some time with the 17-year-old from California, and Janet shared with us her thoughts about the last couple of months.
Since the Olympic Games, I've had the opportunity to do a lot of wonderful things. I've gone to the inauguration. I've met President Bush and Ronald Reagan and a lot of movie stars that, like Tom Selleck, and a lot of neat people that you'd really like to meet. And I've had just the opportunity to do a lot of neat things, go to the Fiesta Bowl and be the Grand Marshal, and just do a lot of things I think a 17-year-old would not have had the opportunity to do. I put a lot of hard work and a lot of sacrifices into my swimming, so I don't really think about it a lot. I just enjoy all the opportunities. I'm in my last semester of high school, so I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to go to school next year, and it's kind of hard because it's a really tough decision, especially when you have 3 or 4 schools. They keep calling you, and they all want you to go to your school, so it's kind of hard sometimes to say no. But I have to make a decision soon, and it's really tough.
Janet, since the Olympics, you've spent a great deal of time with your parents. They have been everything from a trainer to an agent. What have they meant to you?
My relationship with my parents is that they've helped me a lot. You know, they've come to all my swim meets, and especially this year, they've been really supportive. And my mom has booked all my engagements and all the things I've had to do, and she's done a good job of, you know, telling me which one is a good opportunity and which one is not. And my parents have always been there to support me, and I think it's really helped.
When you win an Olympic medal, so much responsibility goes with it. Speaking engagements, appearances, which makes for an exhausting schedule almost a burden.
It's not much of a burden for me. I mean, I was just telling a reporter that I think it kind of comes with the territory. I mean, if you're going to swim fast, you're going to be put in a position. And I hope that, you know, swimming, when I'm talking to little kids, and I'm setting a good role model for them. Sometimes I think that I would like to have more free time. I'd like to do some of the things that I'd like to do. But I wouldn't really call it a burden. Almost more like a responsibility.
Coming Coming up, Janet Evans in the 1,000-yard freestyle next on U.S. Olympic Gold.
You'll find it at the heart of every Dodge machine competing today. It's on the track and off the road. It's the new spirit of performance.
The new spirit of Dodge! The new spirit of Dodge!
Whoa, can't beat it.
The feeling you get from the Coca-Cola Classic. Yeah, can't beat the real thing. You can't beat the feeling.
Welcome back to U.S. Olympic Gold. So far in the U.S. Short Course Nationals, 15-year-old Mary Ellen Blanchard has made the biggest splash. 3 American records and 3 national championships, all for the high school sophomore. But still in the spotlight is 17-year-old Janet Evans, a triple gold medal winner in Seoul, who is ready for her final event, the 1,000-yard freestyle. Let's go live to Ron Thulin and John Neighbor.
Thank you very much, Craig Sager, and we welcome you back live to the U.S. Swimming National Short Course Championships at the Corey Natatorium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Ron Thulin with John Neighbor, and we are set for the timed final of the 4th and final heat for the women's 1,000-yard freestyle, and both the American and U.S. Open record held by Tiffany Cohen back in 1985, and that is the mark Janet Evans will be shooting for this evening. Now let's take a look at our main lane assignments. In lane 1, a 17-year-old from San Diego, California, it's Michelle Butcher. In lane 2, an 18-year-old, a high school senior from Boca Raton, Florida, Molly McGill. And Jane Skillman out of Princeton, New Jersey will be swimming in lane 3 tonight. And in lane 4, the young lady that Craig Sager was speaking about, Janet Evans, 17-year-old from Placentia, California. In lane 5, right next to Janet Evans, will be 15-year-old Lori Walker out of Houston, Texas. In lane 7, a member of the 1988 Denmark Olympic team, Eva Mortensen. Or lane 6, Lori Walker from Houston, Texas. In lane 7, it's Eva Mortensen, an 18-year-old from Santa Clara, California. And in lane 8, rounding out our field this evening for the women's 1,000-yard freestyle, Heather Gravlin from Miami, Florida, swimming for the Hodgson Hurricane Swim Club.
Little Janet Evans has got a lot of pressure on her this year. Everyone's expecting her to carry the ball of U.S. swimming since the Olympics. This is her first appearance in an event of this distance for the last 2 years. Now what happens is she hasn't swum this event at a national level for 2 years, so she's really looking for a personal best time. Her existing best time, her entry time, is 3 seconds slower than the American record.
And just to clarify the lane assignments, lane 5 is Lori Walker, and lane 6 will be Cheryl Simmons, a 19-year-old from Las Vegas, Nevada. And we are set for the 4th and final heat as we look at Jane Skillman of the women's 1,000-yard freestyle. This is indeed a timed final, and John, you might want to explain that.
What happens is on these long events, they don't swim preliminaries and take the top 8 into a championship final. They just let everyone swim at once and the best time wins. So it's conceivable that an earlier swimmer could place in the top 8. But this is the fastest 8 entry times. Lane 1 is at the bottom, lane 8 is towards the top of the screen. Janet is in the blue cap in the middle, surrounded by green and yellow caps.
Take your mark.
40 lengths of the pool, down and back 20 times. 1,000 yards. It's like 2/3 of a mile.
And it is Janet Evans expected to literally run away with this, but she may have some competition from Cheryl Simmons and also from Lori Walker. Most everybody is pointing to Cheryl Simmons in lane 6 from Las Vegas. She placed 3rd in the 1650 free and 5th in the 500 free at the 89 NCAAs just last week.
Cheryl went out first at the turn, but I think Janet saw her on the way back. You see Janet's breathing to her right consistently. So on the way back, she saw Simmons, and she decided, well, she'd try to blow back out into the lead.
As John mentioned, this is 1,000 yards, and it is a long race, but it does involve strategy, and we had a chance to spend some time with Janet Evans about the strategy she has tonight.
I think my strategy for the 1,000 is that I want to take it out fast, but not too fast, because if I try to take it out too fast, I spin my arms, and then I'm just like not getting anywhere. I want to just build into it, and just as soon as I get into a good pace, I keep at that pace. So if I can get into a good pace, I just want to stay there and swim it till the end, and go fast.
Well, while she turned at that last 100, she is ahead of American record pace. It's very quick. I wonder if she can keep it up if she knows how fast she's going. But if she keeps up this pace, we'll see a definite new American record by the end of this event.
Well, in lane 6, it is Cheryl Simmons from Las Vegas, Nevada, who swims for Click Tucson. She's a sophomore at the University of Arizona, currently running number 2. Janet Evans' coach, Don Brandaway, told us before that they just wanted to remain consistent tonight and just be a steady type of pace.
And indeed, she's looking pretty strong here. Look at that trademark windmill stroke of Janet Evans. Regular, rhythmic. She's probably humming a little tune inside her mind just to keep to the cadence. And already a 3 body length lead. That's a pretty quick advantage.
As expected, Janet Evans has the lead in the women's 1,000-yard freestyle. That last 100 was crowd of the Corey Natatorium on the campus of the University of North Carolina cheering on Janet Evans, who is our current leader. Cheryl Simmons in lane 6, 2 lanes above Janet Evans, is currently in 2nd place, and Lori Walker, just a 15-year-old out of Houston, Texas, in lane 5, is currently running 3rd.
There's a real sense of enthusiasm filling the natatorium every 100 yards, every 4th lap, because the big electronic scoreboard over our shoulder shows the time, and every time it's a little bit faster than the American record pace. You can hear the roar of the crowd. They're getting excited to look at the time. She's going to be turning now at the 4th 100, and she's already 2.8 seconds ahead of record pace.
Which brings up a good point, John. Janet Evans, everybody expected her to set the records on Thursday night, which she did not. And the crowd seemed disappointed. We had talked to Janet about that, about just being disappointed of not setting records in the anticipation everybody has. And she says, I just have to go out and swim my best. But still, I think the young lady would like to set the record just because she's had so much pressure on her this week.
Indeed she has. She's sitting there now splitting 56.7 per 100 yards. That's a pretty good clip for anybody. And look at the lead she's got over the best of the rest of the nation. They're half a pool behind, and we're not even halfway through the race yet.
She continues to add to the lead, and she is, if you're wondering, she is indeed a typical 17-year-old. She was voted homecoming queen. She dates regularly. She's a confirmed mall rat. She loves to hang around malls and shops, which she has done a lot since she's been here in Chapel Hill. But she is one of the best, and that's what separates her.
You know, we're now about halfway through the race, and not only does she have muscle fatigue to deal with, she's also got mental fatigue, the loss of concentration. Had a chance to talk to her earlier to see if she looks at her coach or looks at the clock or gets some sort of signal. What helps her concentrate in a race like this? And this is what she told us.
When I swim my distance races, I never look at a coach, I never look at a clock. I breathe really fast, so I really don't get the opportunity. And, you know, all my coaches along the years have tried to give me signals and stuff, but I never look at them. So I just put my head down and keep going. Because also I think if I get a signal in the middle of the race that I should be going faster, and I am going as fast as I can, it kind of psychs me out in the middle of it.
You know, even though she's not looking for signals from the field or from her coach, you see the people on the sidelines behind those banners. Some of her teammates are out there yelling as if she was going to watch. Exactly. It's really more to let the energy out of the spectators rather than do anything for the swimmer, because she can't hear a thing. Her ears are full of water.
Exactly, and the crowd is really beginning to get into it. They're wearing red and white, her teammates we speak of, and in case you're wondering, those are teammates of the swimmers putting the number of laps down in the water so the swimmer can see exactly where they are.
And number 25, right, that's the counter. That's 25 laps completed at this point, 25 out of 40. So we're 75% of the way, almost 75% of the way through the race. Janet is increasing her lead. She's now 3.5 seconds ahead of American record pace. She's dropped to 57s per 100, but that's still okay. She's looking very, very strong, almost 4 full seconds ahead of the American record, held by Tiffany Cohen. It was set at the first meet that this event was entered, and it hasn't been broken since that event in 1985.
In her soundbite, we heard that she met Tom Selleck, and one of the stories that goes up with being a celebrity as far as Janet Evans is concerned is that she said that Tom Selleck came up to her and said, "Oh, hi, Janet." And she said that just really excited her. But this young lady has been on a whirlwind since the 1988 Olympics. And considering what she has been through, plus school, plus training, that is an exceptional young 17-year-old.
And there's all the requests for appearances, all buy it for charity. You know, would you please come and be honorary parade chairman or whatever? And she does everything in her power to do so. But she's still got her school load. She's still got to deal with the recruitment calls from the colleges. She's still got to deal with her academics. She's still got to deal with training if she wants to maintain this position. That's an awful lot of balls to juggle for a young high school senior. She's dropped to 57.1 plus. So she's slowing just a little bit. But she still has got a nice, comfortable advantage with 10 laps remaining. I think we're on our way to a new American record.
Which will be another one. Mary Ellen Blanchard, of course, has set a pair of records already. The young girl out of Norcross, Georgia, which we saw earlier in our program. She's so far ahead of the field, though. She knows she's far ahead. We talk concentration. What about now when you're just totally wiping out the rest of the field? Is it tough to keep herself pushing?
It has to be, and she doesn't have anyone to think about. She's flipping before the people are flipping at the other end of the pool. So she's a full length of the field ahead, doing it all alone. Perhaps you can hear some of the sound, but I doubt it. Right now, she's just trying to hold her stroke together. There's some other interesting thing I should point out, a little controversy. They've added the 1650 event, and so there's 2 distance events for women and 1 senior national championship. That's like running 2 marathons 2 days apart. It can't be done, so she sat out of the mile, has emphasized this event. Not only is she going to win it, she's going to win it handily.
Janet Evans, 17 years old, swims for the Fullerton Aquatic Club. Her coach from the Olympic Games left to take a new job. She has an interim coach now, Dawn Brandaway, and she is getting a new coach, but she says the training has continued. It has not bothered her a bit. With 5 laps to go, it is Janet Evans. The American record with Tiffany Cohen is in her sights.
Should make some note, we talked about swimmers in the preliminaries qualifying or being eligible to win this event. The top swimmer in the first 3 heats in the preliminaries is Pamela Minthorn from Curl Burke. She's a 16-year-old. She went 9 minutes, 40.48 seconds, and about a 1/10 of a second back from Foxcatcher was Julie Cole. These 2 women are eligible to win medals in this event because it's the timed final. Boy, you can see people on their feet. The whole stadium is up there cheering and yelling. She's going to need an easy 58 high for the last 100. She's going to turn in a big swim. This is a bell lap telling her, in case she's lost track, 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go.
This is it for Janet Evans. She's looking at Tiffany Cohen's record of 9:28.32, set back in 1985, and she is on her way to that. 1 lap to go. This is it for young Janet Evans. And the crowd is on their feet at the Corey Natatorium in North Carolina.
She's put her head down. She's not going to breathe from here to the wall. Halfway down, she put her head in the water, takes it to the finish.
Yes. 9:25, almost a full 3 seconds off the American record for Janet Evans. What a race.
That's relief on her face. That's the relief of saying, they've been bugging me to set a record all week.
This is what the crowd of over 1,000 have come to see. Janet Evans setting a new American record.
Remember I told you she needed a 58 plus to break the record? She came home in 55.9. Here she is, head down, all the way to the wall. You see the people are still going the other direction. She's not taking a breath for the last 7.5, 8 seconds of this race. You do that after 9.5 minutes exercise and see how it feels.
And she was still kicking. We've noticed a lot of the players, a lot of the swimmers, they sometimes drag their feet, but Janet Evans continued to kick the entire race.
Let's compare turns. Janet's on the left. Watch how she makes this turn. Because of her lighter body mass, she won't get as much distance off the field. She's going to make the quick turn. It's a sort of a shoulder roll. Heels go over. Now you see, compared to the swimmer on the other side, she's just not getting the same distance off the wall that she should get or could get if she were the size or shape of these German swimmers. All the way to the finish.
And here she comes to the wall, and she's going in at 9:25.49 unofficially, which sets a new American record for young Janet Evans, the 17-year-old from Placentia, California. The crowd has come to see American records set, and they got their wish this evening. As Janet acknowledges the crowd, the rest of the swimmers trying to catch their breath, but the young lady of the hour, Janet Evans, a new American record.
Sit down.
John Neighbor is with a breathless Janet Evans, and we'll have a chance to talk to her. John?
If you want.
Congratulations, Janet. A victory. Not a lot of people expected you to lose this race, but an American record. Did that surprise you?
No, my goal going into this race was to break the American record because I knew there wasn't going to be much competition after the times in the 500. So I just wanted to swim on my own and put my head down and get the record.
Are you relieved that you're still in competitive shape? You weren't concerned about the stress your schedules had on your training?
I really wasn't concerned. My training's been going good, and my pace all during this meet was right on target for my 1,000. So at least I know my training's going good.
Congratulations. Good luck next year. Back to you, Ron.
Well, I would like to say that Jane Skillman in lane 3 from Princeton, New Jersey finished second. Cheryl Simmons finished third in the race, but Janet Evans in 9:25.49, a new American record, wins the women's 1,000-yard freestyle this evening from Corrie Natatorium. This has been an exciting few days here at the Short Course Championships, and for John Neighbor, this is Ron Thulin saying so long from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and the U.S. Swimming National Short Course Championships. Good evening, everybody.
U.S. Olympic Gold, a TBS Sports exclusive, has been brought to you by Dodge.
And Mariano Duncan hit his second of the season.
Coming up next on the Superstation, U.S. Olympic Gold, a TBS Sports exclusive. This week from the U.S. Long Course Swimming Championships, join Ron Thulin, John Neighbor, and Craig Sager as Olympic heroes Matt Biondi, Janet Evans, and rising star Mary Ellen Blanchard compete. That's next on the Superstation. For our entire crew, for Billy Sample, Ernie Johnson, Pete Van Wieren, Skip Carey from Cincinnati repeating the final. Braves 7, Reds 1. See you tomorrow at 2:05. So long, everybody.
Atlanta Braves baseball has been brought to you by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. By the official airline of the Atlanta Braves, Delta. We love to fly, and it shows. By refreshing 1-calorie Diet Coke, just for the taste of it. By Hardee's, we're out to win you over. And by Canon, so advanced, it's the world leader in 35mm photography. Braves baseball is a production of TBS Sports.
Sunday on TBS. Driven by revenge across half a continent. Reach. Steve McQueen, Nevada Smith. 10:35 Eastern on TBS Sunday morning.
I really appreciate this. I hate these blind dates. I know it's my boss's daughter, but you might like her. Dad, the car. Dad or Dad?
No matter where you're going.
There's no gas.
Or what you're going through. At Chevron, in one quick stop, you can get high-octane Chevron Supreme and everything you need to help turn a night like this into a night like this.
Hello. Oh, Daddy. Hello.
Chevron, we're with you all the way.
Jane Trotter always knew the odds were against him. I'm broke. That's what made a day like today
You might be walking around lucky.
so beautiful.
You got the long shot. God likes me! May I buy you a drink? I don't see why not. I'm on the pill.
He really likes me. Richard Dreyfuss, Let It Ride.
You're a wonderful guy.
Rated PG-13. Starts Friday, August 18th at theaters everywhere.
Look for Carpets of Dalton under the big sign, and you'll find up to 50% savings every day on carpeting, hardwood, vinyl, and more. The biggest danger to home carpeting is the ordinary dirt of daily life. Zeftron Nylon is Scotch Guard protected for easy cleaning and longer wear. Zeftron Nylon is wear warranted as a result of the BASF quality testing program. Carpets of Dalton under the big sign at exit 135 in Dalton, Georgia. Or call 1-800-262-3132. That's 1-800-262-3132.
There comes a time in every man's life when he must react. At Marietta Jeep, the time is now.
Jeep Alero! While other dealers sell four-wheel drive of the year Jeep Cherokees for $20,000 or more, Marietta Jeep has 10 Cherokees to choose from, each only $16,500. Or choose from 20 Eagle Premiers, each price to go, only $12,900. Jeep Alero, only at Marietta Jeep.
B.F. Goodrich TA tires. They grab and hold. B.F. Goodrich TA tires. Think of them as athletic shoes for your car.
Tomorrow, National League Baseball hits the heartland. Lonnie Smith and Atlanta invade Cincinnati and Derek Davis as two Western Division rivals do battle live. 2:05 Eastern on TBS tomorrow.
The following is a presentation of TBS Sports. Home of the 1990 Goodwill Game.
3 gold medals from the summer before have not changed the perspective nor the results for Janet Evans, the golden girl of swimming.
50 meters remaining on the women's 400-meter freestyle, and it is Janet Evans as she is trying to make an assault on the world record, which she owns at 4:03.85. She has been ahead of world record pace until she hit the 300-meter mark. But with less than 25 meters remaining, it is all Janet Evans swimming in lane 4. The 17-year-old from Placentia, California. 3 gold medals just 1 year ago in the '88 Olympics. Holds world records in the 400, 800, and 1500-meter freestyle. And tonight, she wins the women's 400-meter freestyle, 4:06.73.
The gold still glitters. Back out of retirement, Matt Biondi again shining ahead of the field.
It is Matt Biondi, Tom Jager trying to make up some room. It is Biondi and Jager. It is Biondi first. Jager finishes second in the men's 50-meter freestyle.
Olympic heroes in the U.S. Swimming Long Course Championships today on U.S. Olympic Gold. Welcome to U.S. Olympic Gold from the campus of the University of Southern California, the site of the Olympic Games, both in 1932 at the Coliseum Pool, where Buster Crabbe emerged as the Golden Star, and 1984 with the likes of Rowdy Gaines and Tracy Calkins, and the first of 6 gold medals won by Matt Biondi. Hello, I'm Craig Sager, and today we bring you U.S. Olympic Gold from a very historic setting, the U.S. Long Course National Championships from the Olympic Pool on the campus of USC. It was here in 1984 where the U.S. swimmers tied an Olympic record by winning 22 gold medals. Sitting at poolside, another USC gold medal winner from before 1984, John Neighbor, who is with Ron Thulin.
Thank you very much, Craig Sager. It has indeed been a very exciting week here in Los Angeles, California. It has been a week of the 3 R's: retirements, records, and remarkable stories. Joining me again for our swim coverage, Olympic gold medal winner and former world record holder John Neighbor. John, we thought some of the young kids would just step forward in this meet, but some of the big story has been of the veterans returning.
Yeah, it's the absence of retirement, I should say. The athletes who did well in Seoul quit, and now they figured, well, they missed it, and they've been coming back. Matt Biondi gave up water polo to rejoin the sport of swimming. Dan Veach, who was buying business suits in Seoul, he gave those up, came back into the pool. Betsy Mitchell quit the sport. She comes back 5 weeks ago of training, and she enters the pool. Top qualifier. She wins this event at the Nationals. Queen backstroke another year. So they're sticking around and they're doing a good job until they get beat or get pushed out of the sport.
Exactly that.
The winner.
A great story by Betsy Mitchell. We have also had records. And what is a national championship without records?
In fact, the athletes who didn't quit are those who weren't satisfied with their performance at Seoul. Barrowman lost an event he thought he should have won. He comes here and proves with a new world record in the preliminary heats of the 200 breaststroke. We'll get to see how he does in the finals this evening.
And Dave Wharton also an American record.
That's right. Dave had the world record in the 400 IM. He lost that to the Olympic gold medalist. In fact, Dave's best medal was a silver medal in Seoul, so he's come back with a vengeance. You see him here winning the 400 IM earlier in the meet with a new American record, so he's back and he's better than he was last year.
Well, both of those are remarkable stories, but probably the one that stands out is the story of a young lady who most thought would never swim again.
Absolutely. Everyone had high hopes for Beth Barr. She was thrown off a horse, compound fracture, the bone came out of the arm. Doctors thought they'd have to amputate, but no, she hung on. She's back in the sport, training hard, and she's made a championship final here. It's going to be a great story.
It's the women's 50-meter freestyle. 24.98 is the world record. 25.50. Leanne Fetter has the American record, and she is swimming in lane 4.
4 from the bottom in the orange cap. Leanne Fetter is the greatest talent in the sprint right now. She's already got half a body length lead, and the race isn't even halfway.
Oh, my goodness. She has come out quickly from Louisville, Kentucky in lane 4. She has got the lead as they come into the final 10 minutes. Leanne Fetter and Jill Sturkle running 1 and 2. Let's see how Leanne Fetter can do. She is still in the lead. And in lane 3, it is Julie Cooper. Leanne Fetter touches first in a time of 25.55. Just off the American record by 5/100ths of a second. And finishing second in lane 5, it is Jenny Thompson, the 16-year-old from Dover, New Hampshire. Looking at the race again for Leanne Fetter, as expected, John Neighbor.
She's in the middle of the pool with the orange cap looking very strong. Look how long she's extending her entry. She's not chopping it short at all. The rest of the field seems to be tying up a little bit, but Leanne still has the nice, long, and confident stroke that takes her all the way to the finish. You take a look at the 2 contenders. Lane 4 is to the right, Leanne Fetter. Lane 5 to the left is her rival, Jenny Thompson. These 2 are 4 years of age difference. And Leanne Fetter is definitely the experienced one who's been to the Olympics, national NCAA champion. She's got all the skills it takes. We're going to be seeing a lot of Leanne Fetter in the years to come.
Well, she finished 3rd in the 100-meter free already this week, and she wins the 50-meter free. It is Leanne Fetter winning this afternoon. 25.55 is her time. Jenny Thompson is second, and Allison Bach is third.
U.S. Olympic Gold, a TBS Sports exclusive, is brought to you by Dodge Cars and Trucks. On the street or off the road, it's the new spirit of Dodge. By Budweiser, Beechwood 8 for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by Diet Coke, just for the taste of it. The move is on to Diet Coke.
I send you for a Bud Light, and you bring back...
Well, if you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
So, there are no men here, there's an unlimited supply of Bud Light, and we can never leave.
Correct.
Because everything else is just a light.
We can live with that. Yeah.
There's no great mystery to satisfying your customers. You build them a quality product, treat them with respect. It's that simple. Satisfaction? Chrysler has the highest customer satisfaction of any American car company. And that's for overall product quality and dealer service. And you know what? That makes it 2 years in a row. Satisfaction is your right. We intend to see that you keep getting it.
Sunday on TBS. Driven by revenge across half a continent. Reach. Steve McQueen, Nathara Smith. 10:35 Eastern on TBS Sunday morning.
Michael Gross, 156.24 on June 27th, 1986. That is the world's record. For our next event, the men's 200-meter butterfly. Pablo Morales, 157.75 is the American record, and that is almost exactly 5 years old. Lane assignments for the men's 200-meter butterfly. Melvin Monroe Stewart Jr. in lane 4 has really come to the top in the men's 200-meter butterfly. But when you think of butterfly strokes, you think of one man, and Craig Sager is with him now.
Well, thanks, Ron. It's rare to find an athlete who transcends a sport, let alone transcends all of sports, but such it is with Mark Spitz. 7 world records, 7 gold medals in the 72 Olympics, now a spectator at the pool. What brings you out here?
Well, I wanted to see the competition. It's in my own backyard in Los Angeles, and it doesn't happen very often that the outdoor nationals are so close, and I've got a lot of friends in swimming, so it was very convenient just to take a short ride over here.
You're such a versatile swimmer, excellent, of course, at many different strokes and distances. But what about the 200-meter butterfly we're going to see?
Well, I'm surprised that the times aren't as fast as you might expect. I think I would have qualified in lane number 6, which would have qualified me 4th in this up-and-coming finals. My time was 007, 2:00.07, and I think Bart Pippinger in lane number 6 did 2:00.74, so he's 4/100 seconds slower than a time that I did 17 years ago. But, of course, in the finals, I'm sure they're going to improve their time.
But you had nobody to chase you either.
Well, yes, I did. I had the whole world. Everybody was chasing me.
Your son now is 8 years old, I believe, also a swimmer. What do you expect out of him?
Not much right now, simply because he's so much interested in other sports, such as baseball and soccer. He does very well in those sports, and I think there's plenty of time for him to decide what sort of a sportsman he's going to be, whether or not he'll be a soccer player or a baseball player or possibly a swimmer. It's going to be difficult if he chooses swimming for obvious reasons, but I'm behind him whatever he wants to do.
Well, thanks for being with us. Time changes a lot of things, but it's not altered the image we have of you. Mark Spitz, let's go back to Ron Thulin.
As we look at the future for the butterfly stroke in American swimming, it is great to see Mark Spitz. And when you think of Mark Spitz, I think all of us get the memories and the picture of him hanging with the gold medals hanging around his neck, John.
Mark won 7 events in a single Olympics. I doubt if that'll ever happen again, but I know that Melvin Stewart facing Mark Dean in this event. Melvin's been trying to train for that. Mark Dean, of course, an Olympian in the butterfly. Melvin Stewart, no stranger to this pressure. And David Wharton, who's already set an American record at this meet, swam a fantastic butterfly leg of the IM, so we know he's strong in this stroke. It's going to be an exciting 4 lengths of the pool.
He told us earlier today, Dave Wharton did, that he swims the 200 fly to improve his individual events, and that seems to take a little pressure off him off the IM. We will be keeping our eye on the splits as far as the world and American records go. But in lane 4, it is Melvin Monroe Stewart Jr., 20 years old, from Fort Mill, South Carolina. He said to me, how do you like it? That is a Southern name if I've ever heard one. That's what you got.
Melvin Stewart swimming 4 lanes from the bottom of the screen with the orange cap reached to his side. And that makes it a little bit interesting.
And it is Mark Dean currently in the lead in lane 5, just above Melvin Stewart. Melvin Stewart is split 26.78, just slightly behind American record pace. That was Mark Dean. Melvin Stewart said that he felt that he overtrained for the Olympics, John, and he felt a lot of pressure coming into the 1988 games.
Well, Melvin certainly is training a lot now as well. In fact, at the recent NCAA championships, he swam 14 swims in a 3-day meet, and I think that's a record. I don't know anybody else who's ever done that. Melvin's got the endurance, he's got the variety. Now he's just got to prove some more speed.
Well, in lane 5, Mark Dean, the 21-year-old from Kansas City, Kansas, 56.73, and that is the American record split. And the crowd at the pool senses that as he makes the turn into the third 50 meters.
You see Melvin breathing to his side. He's looking down here at lane 2. David Wharton, the IMer's got a good butterfly swim going. And Melvin's going to have to start pulling a little bit more snap out of his stroke. His hands are not snapping around to the forward entry quite as well as you would have expected. And Wharton now, I believe, senses he might win this race.
Well, it is Stewart, Dean, and Pippinger in lanes 4, 5, and 6. 127.60, slightly behind American record time, but it is Melvin Stewart in lane 4. As we come to the final length of the men's 200-meter butterfly.
Now Melvin's snapping around a lot better. See how close to the level of the surface of the water he's swimming. Not a lot of wasted undulation. He's got a good snap, good powerful kick, and he looks very strong.
Let's see Dave Wharton in lane 2 trying to make a move. He may run out of pool, and he will. And it is Melvin Stewart in lane 4, winning in a time of 1:57.94. Dave Wharton in lane 2 finishes second.
That's the fastest time swum in this event this year by anyone in the world. So he's the world leader at this point. Great swim, and Dave Wharton has to get a lot of credit. 58.53. You see Wharton towards the bottom of the screen. Melvin in the orange cap leading. Melvin looks very long and strong. Wharton looks like he's undulating a little bit more. But it was interesting. A nice head-down swim all the way to the wall for Wharton. Take a look at Stewart again. Orange cap, that's a trademark. Swims for the University of Tennessee. And there's side breathing that lets him keep his head closer to the surface of the water. So he's not swimming uphill and downhill, but rather forward. A nice technique that works for him. Nice smooth recovery. Looks like he's very casually accepting a nice championship swim.
Well, his hero, he said he admires Tom Jager, former world record holder in the 50-meter free, but he is becoming the hero to a lot of young swimmers here today. Melvin Stewart wins it. Dave Wharton finishes second, and Bart Pippinger winds up third in the men's 200-meter butterfly. The name that has become synonymous with the women's 800-meter freestyle, Janet Evans. She holds both the world and American records. In 1988, she set them 8:17.12, and that is who we will be seeing this afternoon in the 800-meter free. Janet Evans will be swimming right in the middle in lane 4, but just to her left will be Julie Cole, a 16-year-old, and Julie Cole has really emerged, John Neighbor, as a young swimmer with a lot of potential and may try to push Janet Evans.
I think she will try to push Janet. Janet, look at her, how poised and confident she is. It wasn't too long ago that she was the young darling in the sport. Now she's the reigning queen. And there's a difference of attitude as she stands on the blocks or bends over and, moistens her mouth or moistens the goggles. She's very calculated, very mature. No question about it. Now, Julie Cole, a little bit younger perhaps, but certainly has the physical skills and the credentials to be a candidate for racing her down. Julie Cole has won the race that's longer than this event at this meet, wins the race that's shorter than this event here at this meet. And so the question is, can she put the average together and race Janet to the wall?
A young Julie Cole says she enjoys swimming against Janet Evans and hopes she can push her. Started swimming when she was about 4 years old because her sister, who now swims at Boston College, got her interested in it.
I think every athlete enjoys swimming against the best.
We are set. Women's 800-meter freestyle. Very lazy.
Very slow. Slow start, which is fine. The difference of the start here is not going to be the difference of a place at the end of this race, more than likely. And right away, Janet goes into that patented windmill stroke.
And it's that big stroke that is not exactly textbook, I would have to say.
But look, she's going out for it. Already a body length lead before she gets to the first of 16 lengths of the pool. I'm not going to predict a record here, but she certainly looks like she's going for one.
Well, she went out awfully quickly in lane 4. Janet Evans touches the wall in the lead after the first length. We have more of the women's 800-meter freestyle as U.S. Olympic Gold will continue. Stay with us. We'll return to Los Angeles in a moment.
So immature.
Was that your sister? I'm not sure.
You don't have to be a professional athlete to know the importance of including whole grains in your diet. But of these leading cereals, only one is made with 100% whole grain. Only Wheaties. So only Wheaties has the whole grain nutrition you want, no matter what field you're in. Just ask Oral Hershiser. Better get your whole grain.
Better eat your Wheaties.
You know, you'll find everything you need to get ready for school in the new Eckerd Teen Packs. They've got hairspray, deodorant, mouthwash, and tons of other cool things for guys. And for girls, there's styling gel, styling spritz, press-on nails, and other fun stuff. It's an over $12 value for just $3.99. So no matter what else you keep in your locker, make sure it also has an Eckerd Teen Pack. The new Teen Pack's only at Eckerd, because America can't wait to go back to school. Well, I could wait a few extra days.
Look for Carpets of Dalton under the big sign, and you'll find up to 50% savings every day on carpeting, hardwood, vinyl, and more. DuPont Stainmaster Trackless Carpet, only $5.99 per square yard by the roll. There's more. Parquet hardwood flooring, 89 cents per square foot as long as the inventory lasts. But hurry, these prices won't last long. Carpets of Dalton under the big sign at exit 135 in Dalton, Georgia, or call 1-800-262-3132. That's 1-800-262-3132.
Ron Thulin and John Neighbor welcoming you back to Los Angeles, California for the U.S. Swimming National Long Course Championships. And we have 100 meters remaining in the women's 800-meter freestyle, and it is all Janet Evans. And she has opened up an 8-second lead over second place Julie Cole.
She's done it without rivals, all by herself. She's immediately asserted herself in the first 50 and has never let up. Her stroke turnover is patented Janet Evans. She's taking 47 to 48 strokes per 50-meter length, which means she's stroking more efficiently than her body. It's like she's only 5.5 feet, if that, and she's taken 6 feet per 2 arm strokes. That's fantastic.
She has picked up at least 1, 2, or 3 seconds each 100 meters, and she will be coasting to yet another title. She has already captured the 1,500 free, the 200 free.
Now, the pool record, 8:24, is the one she might break. That was set at the Olympics in '84 by Tiffany Cohen. 8:24.95 is the record, and she broke it by 2 full seconds.
8:22.11 is the time for Janet Evans as she picks up her 4th national title and her 21st overall in her swimming career. Julie Cole finishes second at 8:36.07. And in lane 8, Stacy Cassidy, the 22-year-old from Evanston, Illinois, finishes 3rd.
Amazing technique Janet Evans had. Watch as her hand enters the water. Now her body will move past that point before that same hand comes out of the water. That's perfect efficiency. She's got the consistency of a metronome. I mean, this lady's got cadence, and it's worked the entire way. She took the same number of strokes for each of 16 lengths. Very disciplined swim. Great job.
And she always knows where she is in the pool and what her lead is. She's very aware of things going on around her.
An intelligent swimmer, without question.
Janet Evans wins at 8:22.11 is the time. Julie Cole finishes second, and Stacy Cassidy is third in the women's 800-meter freestyle. In the preliminaries, 20-year-old Mike Barrowman from Rockville, Maryland, set a new world and American record in the men's 200-meter breaststroke. Quite an accomplishment, 2:12.90. And he is the new world record holder in this event, and he will be swimming this evening in lane 4. Now, setting a world record in the preliminaries is quite an accomplishment, but can he repeat tonight?
I know I can do better than I did this morning. I just, you know, I've done what I wanted to do. I'm satisfied. You know, if anything happens, it's okay. If I swim terrible, that's fine. You know, I know I can do better. It may not be tonight. It may not be for who knows how long, but I want to do better. Tonight's for me. This morning was for everybody else. You know, I put together the race that I wanted to. I've swum, you know, the race that I wanted for, you know, everybody. I paid back, you know, my coach for the time that he spent with me. Tonight's for me. You know, but like I said, I'm satisfied with what I've done so far, and that's what I came to do.
John Neighbor, the question is, how difficult will it be for Mike Barrowman, who set a new world record earlier today? How's it difficult to come back?
Well, it's definitely hard to improve on a world record because you know you've set a standard that no one in the world has ever done before, and now the concentration is to win the field. Because if he gets third here, if he loses here, it doesn't matter that he owns the record. He still has lost this race. So I looked at him before this race, and he's cool as ice. He's total concentration. He's not pumped. He's not oversight. He looks ready.
4 lengths of the pool. If you want some trivia, the old record was set by Victor Davis 5 years and 1 day ago today. It was in the same pool. He did it in the same lane as Barrowman in the preliminaries.
Now tell me that's not cool. The guy's tapping his goggles 3 seconds before they send him off on a 4-length swim for a new world record. There's definitely a lot of excitement when a man who's proven he can break a world record this week gets on the blocks again.
He said he was so disappointed in his performance in Seoul in the Olympics that he didn't even look at the tape of his race until April, and after that he realized he had to go out and do something this year.
Well, he's got to keep it cool. The temptation is he knows he's got a world record, and he wants to force his way to a new one. I don't think he's going to do that. He's going to let the field determine the pace for the first lap and a half.
He is right on. In fact, he is ahead of world record pace from the preliminaries, and the crowd here at the USC pool knows that, and they are cheering him on already after the first 50.
Well, he may be ahead of his pace, but there's other people with him, too. So being ahead of pace at the 50 is no great indication. Now, it might be said that being slower at the turn might be wiser for him. He's got a great 450.
Good point. In fact, he said after the preliminary world record, he said that his first 150 he didn't think was all that great, but Nelson Diebel was pushing him during the race. He touches the wall first again in lane 4, Mike Barrowman. 1:05.57.
So he's back behind pace, and I think part of that might be the fact that he's lost his goggles. Remember, he was tapping those goggles on the starting block? I don't see him on his face now. So they probably filled with water, and he shrugged them off somewhere, and that's probably what cost him some time.
Well, he lost his goggles this morning in the preliminaries. He said when he dove into the water, down came the goggles, and he thought, my goodness, this isn't going to be a good swim, and he goes on to set the world record.
Who knows? Maybe he thinks losing goggles is good luck. Threw him off. He's looking strong for the win, but he's not quite at record pace.
His goggles the last 75 meters. There's the time in lane 4, 1:39.96 was his time.
I don't think the victory's in question here. The question now is, can he swim a very, very strong? He's got to be more than a second faster than he was in the preliminaries. And see how close he is to the lane line. That's going to prevent him from getting the wiry pull that he might need.
He had an incredible last 50 in the preliminaries when he set the world record. And here he comes now in lane 4, Mike Barrowman. He is being pushed by lane 5, Nelson Diebel, which Diebel did earlier today. It is Barrowman, Diebel. Barrowman touches the wall at a time, 2:14.74. Off the world record he set earlier in the preliminaries, but nevertheless, Mike Barrowman, the new world record holder in the men's 200-meter breaststroke, wins this evening and the national title.
Now take a look at him. He's leading right now in the center of the pool, and he's beginning to lose some time here because the field's gaining on him, and I think it's because he tried to overcompensate for the loss of goggles early in the race at about 75 meters, halfway back the second length. He lost the goggles. It's a distraction. It cost him a full second on that 50, and that's the exact margin. He is slower coming in the finals. So he was a full second faster in the preliminaries, and that entire second was due to the lost goggles.
And you can see he's trying to look over to the side, too, as he's breathing. And you can see his eyes wide open. And like you said, John Aber, it was definitely a distraction for Mike Barrowman, but not enough to cost him a victory, because that is exactly what he did. He wins the men's 200-meter breaststroke this evening. Nelson Diebel is second, the 18-year-old from Hightstown, New Jersey. He said this morning he had a bad swim, but he has worked extremely hard this summer for these national championships. And John Aber is with a very tired Mike Barrowman right now, who's still in the pool.
Mike, congratulations on the victory. Disappointment with the time. What happened with your goggles?
I don't know. It's getting to be a common occurrence with me now. Every time I dive in, the things fill up, and I can't see anymore. This time it got to both of them, and I had to tear them off at the wall and couldn't see anything after that. But it's all right. I could see in the morning, and that's all that mattered to me.
Was there added pressure since you've already broken the world record to do it again?
No, it was less. You know, I came in here, and I wanted to break it, and doing it in the morning relieved all the pressure from me. So I would have liked to have gone a lot faster tonight, and I felt I could have. But, you know, things happen. It's all right with me. I'm happy. I can't complain.
Congratulations anyway.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John Aber. He is indeed a very happy young man who said he's excited about the publicity that he'll receive for being the world record holder. Mike Barrowman wins at 2:14.74 is his time. Nelson Diebel is second. And Kurt Stackel winds up third in the men's 200-meter breaststroke. Let's go back to our host, Craig Sager, who's with the national team director, Dennis Persley.
Thanks, Ron. The year after the Olympics, traditionally a time for changes, not only in athletes, but also in philosophies. Swimming has undergone many of them. Dennis, what are they and why?
Well, we're looking at some dramatic changes over the next 4 years from what we've been doing in the past. One of them is that we intend to select our team 5 months prior to the Olympics rather than the traditional 4 or 5 weeks. We're looking at establishing a competitive schedule 2 years prior to the Olympics that will allow the swimmers to focus on getting the training background in rather than having to back off and peak and taper and qualify on a regular basis for the major events, and doing some things like this to make it easier for them to be at their best in Barcelona in '92.
We've also seen one record already by Mike Bowerman. Is that indicative of the results you expect?
Well, I think that record is indicative of the incredible hard work that Mike does, and that's what pleases me most about the meet this week is that most of the outstanding performances are being turned in by swimmers who are making a total commitment, and he's the perfect example. And if we can establish that, the work ethic as being the key to success in international competition, then I think we will have done what we need to do.
Well, thank you, Dennis. We wish you continued success, and we look forward to our continuing coverage of the best swimmers in the world on U.S. Olympic Gold. The top 2 finishers in this meet qualify for the Alamo Cup, a dual meet between the United States and the Soviet Union, which will be held at Emory University and televised on U.S. Olympic Gold. Other events we're covering, the World Box-Offs. Earlier this week in Concord, California, Eric Griffin, an easy winner. However, Brian Lannon had to avenge an earlier loss to Lionel Odom, as did Tony Gonzalez over Eddie Cook. Frank Pena won 5-0. Tonga McLean was the winner at 132. And Skipper Kelpa again defeated his former sparring partner, Victor McInnes. Raul Marquez won a decision at 147. Paul Vaden the same at 156. Ray Lathan added another title. He's the only boxer to win the U.S. Championships, the Olympic Festival, and the Golden Gloves in 1989. Terry McGroom, John Bray, and Larry Donald, all easy winners. These 12 will comprise the American team that will take part in the World Championships in Moscow. The box-offs will be seen on U.S. Olympic Gold September 9th. You can see many of them 2 weeks from tonight, and the U.S.-Poland duel. That was held at the Rosemont Horizon and will be televised right here. Well, it's been a busy week in amateur sports, especially in Eugene, Oregon, the world's largest track meet. As time goes by, reputations increase, abilities are supposed to decline. But don't tell these guys. 41-year-old Eddie Hart won the World Veterans Games 100-meter dash in a time of 10:87 without starting blocks. Hart is the hard luck sprinter who missed the start in the 1972 Olympics. Al Orta, now 52, easily won the discus with a toss that would still be competitive at the TAC Nationals today. And Bob Richards, who preceded Michael Jordan by about 30 years on the cereal box cover,
Pole vaulted 10.5 feet, or about 4 feet, below his gold medal vaults in 1952 and in 1956. The U.S. Junior National Wrestling Championships were recently held at the University of Northern Iowa. Ron Thulin was there, and he found the inspiration for one up-and-coming wrestler.
Unidome on the campus of the University of Northern Iowa. Site for the 1989 USA Junior National Wrestling Championships, the largest wrestling tournament in the world. In its 19-year history, the Junior Nationals have been the beginning of the road for many Olympic medalists. John Smith and Kenny Monday, gold medalists in 1988. Bruce Baumgartner, a silver in 88, a gold in 84, to name just a few. But with most Olympic medalists and Olympic wrestlers, the Junior Nationals have indeed been the beginning. Almost a must.
I would say so. The National Junior Tournament is very important to wrestlers in the United States in their development toward becoming Olympians in the future.
The USWF is definitely a great tournament, and that's why so many people are here, and that's why so many wrestlers are here. Because just to win it, usually if you look back over the history of it, a lot of guys that have won this tournament have been NCAA champions at least once. Not all of them, but there's a high percentage of them. So that's impressive.
It all began with 22 mats and over 1,800 wrestlers competing for 24 national titles in Greco-Roman and freestyle competition. 10 young men were hoping to repeat as national champions, like Pat Smith of Midwest City, Oklahoma, successful in his bid for a second national crown. Alan Freed of Lakewood, Ohio, was striving for even more. Moving up a weight class to 143 pounds, Freed was looking to become the first ever to win 4 consecutive national titles. With a 6-0 victory over Danny Kiernan, that allowed Freed to take his place in the history books of the Junior Nationals. Next stop for Freed, the beginning of a collegiate career at Oklahoma State. Future NCAA champions and future Olympians have all wrestled in Iowa this week. But the one story that stands out is the story of an exceptional young man from New York who has his sights set on both an NCAA title and a gold medal in the Olympics. This is a story of a young man who is not driven by championships nor by titles. He is driven by a memory. Adam Mariano of Port Jefferson Station, New York, a 3-sport letterman and an A student, with hopes of one day going to medical school and winning an Olympic gold medal. Wrestling has become a family affair, but it is the memory of Adam's younger brother, a victim of leukemia, that has bonded the family.
You know, we've grown closer as a family because I lost a little brother to leukemia about 2 years ago. And that's brought them very close to me as parents and as friends. But, you know, they haven't missed really a match ever. My dad comes to practices most of the time. It's a very tight-knit family.
We have a real, I think, a real good, close relationship. My wife and I have never really forced him into athletics, you know. He's good, and the winning is nice, but that's almost incidental, you know. The fact that he's a good kid, he's a good human being, and he likes people, and he's a good brother to his sisters. That's what really matters, you know. That's what we're most proud of, you know. It's nice that he's a winner in this, but, you know, there's more to life than that.
Wherever we go, people say, well, what are you nervous about? Who's going to win? You never know in a sport like this. You never know if there's going to be an injury. And we just take one match out of a time, and we never look at him as going to win the tournament, just one match at a time.
This match was not to be. Mariano had not lost in 2 years of prep competition. But in just 27 seconds, J.J. McGrew of Oklahoma put an end to the streak. The loss hurt. Losing hurts winners most. Although a 1989 national title is not his, Mariano remains a winner with goals yet to achieve.
To be so young, yet to be so focused on what you hope to accomplish. Adam Marinano, so I guess his next stop, college.
He will be going to Penn State now. Both college and international coaches tell me this man is so aggressive, he will be successful in college. But what makes him special, his drive, because of his little brother. He said not a day goes by he doesn't think of him.
And we'll be back with one of the truly inspiring stories of the U.S. Long Course Championships, the comeback of Beth Bahr, coming up next on U.S. Olympic Gold.
Take a Carnival cruise.
Christina, you got everything?
Everything, Richard.
When you win the Coca-Cola Classic Fox Isle of Dreams treasure hunt.
This is the spot.
Cruise winners hunt for treasure.
Well, I'm going to search for a tan.
There are all kinds of prizes, like jet skis, cars, and the biggest prize of all, $1 million.
Wow!
With Fox and Coca-Cola Classic, the official soft drink of summer.
This is the spot.
Richard.
Can't beat the feeling.
City Mortgage, call 688-CITY. City Mortgage has a loan for you, whether your credit is good or bad. And we make it easy, give us a call today. City Mortgage, call 688-CITY.
Really looking forward to this weekend.
Oh, my.
Stop dreaming. If you really want a full head of hair again, there's only one thing to do. See the dream turn into reality with the HRS Systems process of hair replacement. It gives you a full head of hair like the one you used to have, permanently. Call HRS today for a free brochure. Call now. It could mean the difference between this and this.
There comes a time in every man's life when he must react. At Marietta Jeep, the time is now.
Jeep, Jeep-a-lo! While other dealers sell four-wheel drive of the year Jeep Cherokees for $20,000 or more, Marietta Jeep has 10 Cherokees to choose from, each only $16,500. Or choose from 20 Eagle Summits, each priced to go only $98.80. Jeep-a-lo, only at Marietta Jeep.
Welcome back to U.S. Olympic Gold, the Long Course National Championships from the Olympic Pool on the campus of the University of Southern California. A year ago, Beth Bahr, then 16, made the Olympic team in both backstroke events. She returned from Seoul with a silver medal in the medley relay. But in May, Beth had the misfortune of being thrown from a horse. She suffered a severe multiple compound fracture of the right arm. There was little chance she would ever swim competitively again. But with adversity comes strength. Beth is back in the water, and although limited in movement, there are no boundaries in what she hopes to accomplish.
Well, I knew I wouldn't swim for a while, but I didn't think I'd be in the hospital for a month because I didn't see my bone because it was laying flat, and I didn't see that. So I didn't think it was as serious as it was, you know, but I knew I wouldn't swim for a couple weeks, but I had no idea it would be as bad as it was. The whole experience was almost like a daze or a dream. You know, I don't remember the first 2 weeks at all, but I remember the second two. And I was still in that daze when they were thinking about amputating. So lots of things that they said didn't really register, you know, and then after a while it's like, oh my gosh, you know, I may lose my arm. And but after it got past that stage, I knew if I had pulled through that, I could pull through anything, and I knew I'd swim again.
I think an injury serious like that is definitely going to change somebody, and I think being in the hospital and being away from swimming like she was, I think has made her more determined than what she was before, and realized how much she wants to accomplish certain goals that she set for herself that she hasn't, you know, reached yet.
Every once in a while I start feeling sorry for myself, you know, and be like, oh gosh, you know, I'll never swim again, you know, start crying and get really upset, which I think everybody who goes through a tragedy, you go through that kind of stuff. And but in every trouble there's a blessing, and I had to look for the positive things instead of the negative.
It was a short course nationalist final in 1988.
And there is Beth Bahr, 17 years old, swims for the Mission Bay Makos out of Pensacola, Florida. And she is a girl that has been on an emotional roller coaster this entire week, John. I think that's something we have to talk about, that she's disappointed, but then she's elated. She's disappointed and elated.
Well, she's a champion. She's proven she can make an Olympic team, and yet now she's having to reclimb that hill. She's going to be swimming in lane 1 at the bottom of our screen, And we'll certainly keep an eye on her, but we cannot say we can expect her to win because of the handicap she's had to overcome. The main competition will come from the center lanes. Those are the top qualifiers. Lee Lovelace and Kristen Linehan both have a little bit of an Olympic connection. Lee Lovelace trains at the same club where Rick Carey swims, and he was, of course, the 1984 gold medalist. Top qualifier Lee Lovelace at 18 lives in Crestwood, New York. Lane 1, of course, Beth Barr on the bottom of your screen.
Ladies, 200-meter back.
Lee Lovelace will be a freshman at Florida. Kristen Linehan in lane 5 will be a sophomore at Florida. A couple of teammates, or future teammates at least.
You know what I like about watching Beth Barr? We don't expect her to win, but she's not willing to just sort of give up the race. She's going to give it her best shot, and that's nice to watch.
Well, she told me just about an hour ago, she was talking about that she is loose, and she said, listen, I'm just going to come out and have fun and try to swim. I'm not going to embarrass myself, but I'm going to go out and try. So we will keep our eye on Beth Barr swimming in lane 1, and right now it is Lee Lovelace in lane 4 with the lead as they're about to complete the first 50 meters of the women's 200-meter backstroke.
Lee looks very strong. She's keeping her head nice and still. And look at that rotation in the arm. She's getting a full length, and there's a nice little whitewater motorboat behind her feet. Very comfortable position. Now, remember, she's swimming away from the sun now, and the glare might have a cause to prevent her from seeing the backstroke flags just before the turn. So you're looking at lane 4, our leader, Lee Lovelace, looking very, very good. And there on the bottom of the screen is Beth Barr in the blue cap. And she's not doing anything to disappoint her fans.
Exactly right. But in lane 4, it is Lee Lovelace. In lane 5, it is Kristen Linehan. And in lane 2, it is Janie Wagstaff. It is a close race at the end of 100 meters.
Janie, currently in second, is 2 years younger than the next youngest person in this heat. There's definitely a future in the sport for her.
Beth Barr is keeping pace. She has to feel quite confident at this point.
Well, it's difficult for her because of the splint and the pins in her arm. She cannot turn on that arm. So she's got to pace and time her strokes to land on the wall on the other arm. And it's one more complication that sort of makes it harder to compete.
She said it was going to make her nervous touching the wall.
Well, perhaps so, but in fact, they've got plenty to worry about just making the turn. And we see Kristen Linehan, who's very good in the distance backstrokes, beginning to close in now. Kristen Linehan is the sister of Olympian from 1984 and 1980.
And it is still Lee Lovelace and Janie Wagstaff in lane 2 making a play for the lead. But it is Lovelace in lane 4 with the lead so far.
Look at that head control. The head doesn't bob. Here comes Linehan. You see her now fighting for the lead. This is going to be a thriller right to the finish.
It's going to come down to the last 15 meters, and they are within 10 right now. And in lane 4, it's lane 5. Kristen Linehan has taken over the lead in lane 5. Can she touch first? Yes, Kristen Linehan, 2:14.01. In second place in lane 7, Dee Dee Trimble, an 18-year-old from Short Hills, New Jersey. And finishing third in lane 4, the leader for most of the race, Lee Lovelace.
And we got to note that Beth Barr in the lower right-hand corner didn't get last. She got 5th. Good job for Beth. Kristen Linehan just now eking into the lead, and she seems to be accelerating. There towards the top of the screen is Dee Dee Trimble, who will sneak in for the silver, and Lee Lovelace, who led much of the time, has to settle for third. Now let's take a look at the stroke as we compare. On the left, that's Kristen Linehan. On the right, Lee Lovelace. And look how steady their head is. And in fact, once you get the lead, you can then see your competition. And if you lose the lead, they disappear from sight, and that has a psychological factor. Kristen Linehan looked very, very strong there. She was obviously disappointed about not making the Olympics the year before. This is Kristen Linehan looking like she deserved to win this victory for herself.
Well, Linehan won the 100 and 200-yard back at the NCAA, and there is Beth Barr. And right now, I think as far as her comeback trail, she has taken a major step. Not only physically, but I think from a mental standpoint, John.
Rightfully so. I think that she may be disappointed with the 5th place, but that's not as far as she's going to go in this sport. She'll be back.
A Tiger was very pleased, Beth Barr. As we look at the final results, Kristen Linehan, 2:14.01 is her time. Dee Dee Trimble does finish second, and Lee Lovelace is third in the women's 200-meter backstroke. More swimming from the campus of Southern California coming up on U.S. Olympic Gold in a moment.
6-time Olympic gold medalist Matt Biondi for the 1990 Goodwill Games.
The competition is probably most conducive to setting world records and having the best competition possible.
The 1990 Goodwill Games, uniting the world's best in a winning tradition.
Check it out. Look at that. You guys hear something?
You guys are
so immature.
Was that your sister? I'm not sure.
Whole grain nutrition is important, but of these leading cereals, only one is made with 100% whole grain. Only Wheaties. Just ask Carl Hershiser. Better get your whole grain.
Better eat your Wheaties.
Do you know what makes that Eagle Summit special?
It's incredible dual warranty.
You got it.
Unbelievable room.
You got it.
I just wish it had a lower price.
You got it. Give me one good reason why you chose the Eagle Premier Limited.
Four-wheel disc brakes, leather-trimmed interior, air conditioning, power everything.
I only asked for one.
Take your pick.
BF Goodrich TA tires perform like great athletic shoes. Grab. Dig. Because BF Goodrich TA tires are low and wide. BF Goodrich TA tires. Think of them as athletic shoes for your car.
Thursday night, it's a TBS exclusive. Dick Clark brings you the original Class of '55. Roy Orbison, Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, and Johnny Cash. The men who changed the face of music forever. It's a very special session with 4 music legends. Get ready for a rockabilly blast from the past. Coming Home, a rockin' reunion, exclusively on TBS. 8:05 Eastern on TBS, Thursday night.
It is an 8-year-old record. It is held by Uta Gavinegar, 2:11.73, set July 4th, 1981, for the women's 200-meter individual medley. The American record, Tracy Calkins, set it back in 1984, 2:12.64. The field, it is a young one. In fact, there is only one of the swimmers out of her teens, and that is Jill Johnson in lane 1. But the 2 names that catch our eye, actually the 3 names in lane 3, 4, and 5, Mary Ellen Blanchard, just 16, Janet Evans, 17, and Summer Sanders, 16-year-old in lane 5.
Janet, at 17 years old, is somewhat middle-aged when it comes to women's swimming in this distance. This is the shortest race she has ever swum in nationals. She's never swum anything shorter than a 400 before. At the indoor nationals, she was going to try to do the 200, but she had an unfortunate scratch. Mary Ellen Blanchard, on the other hand, is doing very well in the IMs and breaststrokes. And indeed, it's going to be an exciting race between the 2 of them. But Summer Sanders is one you've got to watch from Capital Swim Team, Capital City Aquatics. She is a real tough IM swimmer. It's interesting to see 2 16-year-olds and a 17-year-old being the core. Mary Ellen Blanchard, of course, top-notch in the breaststroke. That'll be the 3rd stroke we'll see today. But Janet Evans, the woman everyone's trying to beat, no longer the young darling. She's now the established reigning queen.
As you see, lane 1 at the bottom of your screen, lane 8 at
Ladies,
the top.
200-meter individual medley. Take your bar.
And it is a clean start.
A little bit sluggish off the blocks for Janet, but I don't think that's going to make a difference. She's a very tough competitor. We could see the way she was concentrating at the start of the race. Janet Evans in the blue cap in the middle of the pool. Lane 4 starting from the bottom.
Summer Sanders in lane 5 is our early leader, and it is very important, I would think, with Summer Sanders, her weakest leg being the freestyle, that she needs to get some type of advantage early on here, John.
That's correct. Summer's very strong, though. I think Mary Ellen's the one who's got to worry about the freestyle leg.
In the preliminaries, Mary Ellen made up a great deal of time on the breaststroke, which, of course, is her strong point, 29:10, and that is ahead of the American record time. But she needs to also go out here because Janet Evans is just so strong on freestyle.
Summer Sanders, full of enthusiasm, established as a good distance IMer. She's now trying to do equally well in the short one. And up there, Janelle Jorgensen, you see her leading it towards the top of the screen. She was the Olympian in butterfly, so it's no surprise she's leading at the end of the fly and into the back.
Exactly that, as we're finishing up the halfway point, the first 100 meters, and in lane 7, it is Janelle Jorgensen, just 18 from Ridgeville, Connecticut. Will be a freshman this fall at Stanford, 1:03.64, slightly off American record pace.
Now, Janet Evans came into the lead on the strength of that turn. She charged into the wall when Summer Sanders was loping into the turn.
And in lanes 4 and 5, Janet Evans and Summer Sanders. Summer Sanders with a slight lead.
is going to be an exciting finish. You know Janet Evans has endurance. You know she's got the distance background. She's also good in freestyle, so can she run down young Summer Sanders in the freestyle? Here comes Mary Ellen, the breaststroker, and the white cap towards the bottom, now moving into a close second.
And as they make the turn, it is Mary Ellen Blanchard, Janet Evans, and Summer Sanders as we come to the final 50 meters of the women's 200 IM.
It's the patented windmill stroke of Janet Evans. Look at this. It's like someone turned on the motorboat. Here comes little Evinrude. Boy, she's turning it on.
She has the high windmill stroke, and she is really churning up the water. Janet Evans in lane 4. Summer Sanders in lane 5 trying to keep pace. But Janet Evans, the 17-year-old from Placentia, just too much this evening. And she touches the pad first at a time of 2:15.15. Janet Evans, the national champion in the women's 200-meter individual medley. For Janet Evans, 2:15.15 is her time. Summer Sanders a close second. And Mary Ellen Blanchard finishes third. Our coverage of swimming from Los Angeles, California continues on U.S. Olympic Gold in a moment.
Hey Braves fans, what does Coca-Cola, Starvin' Marvin, and Speedway stores have in common? That's right, it's Squeeze Bottle Night, Friday, August 18th, when the Pittsburgh Pirates face the Atlanta Braves at 7:40.
The first 25,000 fans from the gates with the reserve seats.
Now, wait just a second. You've taken our money and our watches. We've suffered the trauma and humiliation of being ordered around at gunpoint, but this is where we draw the line. You can take our material possessions, but you can't take away our dignity.
You tell her, Wally. I bet that gun's not even loaded. Now, at least we get a good tan today.
You know, Eddie, none of this would have happened if you'd have stayed on the interstate, where they have street lights and policemen.
Don't tell me you're going to blame this one on me. All right, so I'm not a good judge of character. But this isn't the worst thing that could happen to us.
She put a gun to our heads.
Yeah. Reminded me of my wedding day. Forget it, we're stranded.
We have no money, no car, no clothes. Even you wouldn't be stupid enough to pick us up.
You're looking at this all wrong, Wally. First of all, my insurance company's going to get me a brand new truck. We'll tell them your air conditioner was in the back. They'll pony up for that, too. With any luck, we'll have enough left over to buy you some decent underwear.
A lot of good that's going to do us, 400 miles from home without a penny in our pockets. We don't even have any pockets.
Okay. I think I've got it. First of all, we find us enough pop bottles to buy me some nice threads. Then the next cow town we come to, we tell them that you're jogging across country to raise money to fight the rare disease that's slowly taking your life. What's so funny?
You're one of a kind, Eddie. No matter what happens, you never say die, do you?
That's why you love me, isn't it? Huh?
Well, it sure isn't because of your legs.
Singing do-wah-diddy-diddy-dum, diddy-do. She looked good, she looked good, she looked fine, she looked fine, she looked good, she looked fine. Then I nearly lost my mind. Before I knew it, she was walking next to me, singing do-wah-diddy-diddy-dum, diddy-do. Come on, man. She looked good. She looked fine, she looked fine.
Victoria Earp.
What, they finally found a substitute for the sweet roll. Hey.
Nutrigrains, almond raisin.
What is this, nuts and twigs?
Try almonds, raisins, and these great flakes made with brown rice.
But there's no sugar added.
Irv, you're gonna love the taste, even though it's healthy.
Hey, don't you have a story to write? How's this? Man eats healthy food and lives.
The amazing taste of Nutrigrains almond raisin.
It's news.
What do you like on a Ritz cracker?
Everything but sour pickles, Brussels sprouts, and spinach.
But everything else is pretty good, right?
And
not been training for the sport of swimming for much longer than a couple of months. And although he's a little bit more rested than the field, he's got to get back into the swing of the sport.
Now, we saw him in Santa Clara just last week on U.S. Olympic Gold. Jaeger looked like he slipped at the blocks. He said, in fact, he thought it might be a false start. Biondi was able to win in a pretty decent time.
Biondi wearing a beard at the time. He's now
Exactly.
clipped and stripped and ready to go. Everyone's fully shaved and tapered. Lane 1 at the bottom. Biondi is 3. He's not yet on his blocks. Swinging his arms is Tom Jaeger, top qualifier, and the far side's Crocker. So a last-minute adjustment to the goggles.
That's right. Biondi had a beard yesterday, as a matter of fact, and it is all shaved off, and we are ready. Our featured event, the men's 50-meter freestyle.
One leg. Starts really clear.
In a 50-meter race, everything is important.
Uh-oh. Now that's going to really change here. In the rules in U.S. swimming, if you get caught for a false start, you are disqualified. You don't get a second chance, and it looks like Steve Crocker, the man who beat Biondi in the heats, might be ousted because he started moving before the gun.
It's either he or Todd Pace in lane 6. It wasn't quite sure who exactly moved on this. You were talking to the officials before, John Neighbor, about that. You know, is somebody going to try to get that little edge?
Well, you can certainly expect that when hundredths of a second separate first from fourth. So these athletes are all wondering, is it me? Is it me? Who's the official coming over to talk to?
The crowd surrounding the pool.
They don't want to see anybody ousted.
No.
They want to see 8 people swimming this length. And the tension is really tangible here. You can feel it.
Oh, the people are all just, their eyes are just glued, of course, on Biondi, Jaeger, and Crocker. They want to make sure the top 3. Lane 4.
Tom Jaeger?
Tom Jaeger? Oh, my goodness.
This will really complicate matters now.
If it is Jaeger in lane 4, there is an upset before the race begins, which might be a first.
Oh, boy, you can almost read his lips. He doesn't even believe it. He doesn't even believe it, and frankly, neither do I, because I don't think he was the guy moving.
Let's take a look at it again. Let's you be the judge.
Watch closely. Jaeger's in lane 4 in the yellow cap. 4 counting from the right. The official says take your marks, and they have to come to a complete stop. And now the audience, they're just booing and hissing, but first to touch the water was lane 5. Crocker was the first to hit the water, and Jaeger can't believe it. He thinks something's amiss here. And here's his coach, Jay Fitzgerald from Santa Clara Swim Club. He's arguing, and
with Russ White of Houston, Texas.
There's definitely a dispute going on here.
Well, the coaches are going to argue, obviously, about this.
And this is a national title on the line.
But isn't it more than that, John? I mean, it's a national title that means a great deal, a trip to Japan, the whole bit. But doesn't it mean a little bit of pride factor here between these two?
Well, it does take all the wind out of the sails of the great rivalry. The stadium now, everyone in the room, they're starting to chant something that I can't repeat on the air.
Well, some of them are saying, let them swim, and the rest, use your imagination.
Would you please begin the event? Would you please quiet down so we can begin the event? Thank you very much.
They're going to begin the event. You listen to the crowd.
He's very angry. And I think rightfully so. I don't think he was the guy who was moving. And so now the race is going to be Biondi against Crocker. Let's take a look at the start here. 4 from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4 in the yellow cap. Was he the guy moving? No. It was Crocker without the cap.
No.
He was the guy who started the movement. Jaeger was just stuck to the block. So this is going to be an interesting controversy. Now,
my goodness.
You know, the officials, unlike football, they don't use replays to make their calls.
Exactly right.
And it's a very, very difficult thing to do.
You hate to take the human element out of it, but in this case, you'd almost want it in. Let them look at it. Let's make the right call. Let's not take this away from this young man. Let's see if we can get a clean start. What does this do mentally to the swimmers? We'll find out.
Now, Crocker got the advantage on that start.
He did.
People were rocking backwards, and Crocker got just a 1/10 of a second jump. But Biondi's looking strong, tying up a little bit. He's got a much shorter stroke than we're used to.
It is Crocker in lane 5. Biondi trying to make his move now in lane 3. The last 10 meters. Here they come. Biondi just by a stroke. Can he hold on? It is Biondi and Crocker touching first. Matt Biondi, 22:36.
And it was the strength of his long stretch coming into the finish. And look at that smile. One has to wonder what satisfaction that is.
As we look at the replay again, Crocker came out early on, but look at Biondi. Nice and smooth stroke. He wasn't quite that smooth this morning early on. He touches the wall. Crocker does finish second. In lane 5, 22:47 was his time. Let's take a look at Matt Biondi's stroke again, that patented Matt Biondi stroke that led him to the gold medals in Seoul in 1988. Very smooth, straightforward, coming to the wall, and touches and wins the men's 50 free. John Neighbor is with Matt Biondi now.
Matt, congratulations. A victory for a guy who's just come back into the sport. There's got to be some mixed emotions, though.
Well, of course, you know, the reason why we're all out here is because we want to compete against the best. And to lose Tom in the 50 kind of takes away something from the victory. I know that Tom is as good or better than I am on any day. And, you know, of course, the field was filled with a lot of competition, but we like to have everybody there. And I don't know what happened with the start. I didn't see it. I sure would have liked to have Tom in there.
Now, the rest of the field was also in the race, though Crocker was with you until about 1 meter to go. Hey, you've got to feel good about this finish.
Sure I do. Anytime you win, it's a plus, and to come back from a short season of water polo and they have 6 weeks training for swimming, you know, I feel great. A national champion, and that's something to be proud of.
Well, certainly the rivalry will continue.
I sure hope so.
Good job. Let's go now to Tom Jager, who's at the other end of the pool with our own Craig Sager.
Well, Tom, Matt said it was a hollowed victory because you were not there. What actually happened? Did you leave the blocks first? Well, I don't think I left the blocks first. I guess they may have made a decision off of my hands moving or something. I don't really know. I've been swimming for 20 years. I think this is the second time ever I've been disqualified for a false start. Probably the last time when I was 12 years old. I don't know. I think they may want to read the rule book, and they may want to look at some pictures, and they may want to practice starting the field in that intense of a race. Well, let's look at the pictures of the race. The officials, of course, did not have the advantage of replay. We do. Here it is. Well, we both came down, and my hips go in position, as you can see, and then they come to a complete stop, and that's when the gun fires. As you can see, I was the last one off the block, which isn't very good for me. But, you know, the hips go into position, and then you're ready for the gun to go, and as far as I'm concerned, that's exactly what happened. I don't know what they saw. From this angle, it looked like a clean start. Well, thanks, Tom. Now let's go back to Ron Thulin.
In the shroud of controversy, Matt Biondi wins it. 22:36 is his time. Steve Crocker is second, and young Brett Lang is third in the men's 50 free.
U.S. Olympic Gold, a TBS Sports exclusive, has been brought to you by Dodge Cars and Trucks. On the street or off the road, it's the new spirit of Dodge. By Budweiser, Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by Diet Coke, just for the taste of it. The move is on to Diet Coke.
Lanning Smith and Atlanta invade Cincinnati, and Eric Davis as Western Division rivals do battle. 2:05 Eastern on TBS tomorrow.
What do you have? Give me 2 pizza puffs, chili dog. Excuse me. Gus.
1 minute.
Sorry. Give me 2 pizza puffs, a chili dog, a large.
Hey, Lord.
Gus, I told you, to be hot dog kings, we need lots of Bud Light. Not Bull Blood?
If you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
Now what do you think? It's beautiful.
Because everything else is just a light.
Hey, what about my pizza puffs? Do you know what makes that Eagle Summit special?
It's incredible dual warranty.
You got it.
Unbelievable room.
You got it.
I just wish it had a lower price.
You got it. In 5 seconds, tell us about the four-wheel disc brakes on your Eagle Premier Limited.
Okay, I'm driving. A tree falls in the road. I'm getting closer and closer and closer.
Sir, you're going to have to stop.
My point exactly.
Monday night on TBS, a deadly virus has transformed a pleasure train into a death trap. The Cassandra Crossing, 8:05 on Channel 17, Monday.
Welcome back to U.S. Olympic Gold, where another page of history has been recorded from the Olympic pool on the campus of the University of Southern California, as we have crowned the 1989 U.S. Swimming Long Course National Champions. We'll be off next week, but still plenty of excitement coming your way in the month of August on U.S. Olympic Gold. 2 weeks from tonight, the national champions from the United States and Poland in a dual boxing meet from the Rosemont Horizon. And we finish the month with more swimming. The top 2 finishers from this meet against the best duo from the Soviet Union. The long course championships will be remembered for the 3 R's. A world record by Mike Behrman, an American record by David Wharton, another gold medal for the formerly retired Matt Biondi.
Home of the 1990 Goodwill Games.
Just 6 days ago in Tokyo, Japan, the United States, 4 world records in swimming. The first, Tom Jager in the 50 free.
ジェがリードしている。ジェが1着でゴールインタイムは22秒12に出ました。マット・ビヨンデを超えました。22秒12。トム・ジェイガー。
Mike Barrowman in the men's 200-meter breaststroke.
13秒09。世界新記録直して。
David Wharton setting the world mark in the men's 200-meter IM.
0秒11。世界新記録。デイブ・ウォートン世界新記録。2分0だ。
And Janet Evans in the women's 800 free.
ゴールイン。8分16秒22。8分16秒22。世界新記録。
3 of the 4 record setters are with us, Evans, Wharton, and Barrowman, as Team USA takes on their counterpart from the Soviet Union. And we come to you live from Atlanta, Georgia, the Woodruff PE Center on the campus of Emory University. 2 lengths remaining in the men's 200-meter butterfly, and Melvin Monroe Stewart Jr., swimming in lane 4 from the United States, has the lead.
Melvin's been swimming a technically beautiful race. You see him in the white swim cap. He breathes to his side. Notice his elbows are higher than his fingertips, showing good form. Melvin Stewart's favorite event, 200 butterfly. He really should be favored into this, but he's not alone. At the bottom of the screen, Dave Wharton, world record holder in the IM, is going to chase him to the wall.
And here we come, John Neighbor, the last 50 meters in the men's 200-meter butterfly. Live coverage on U.S. Olympic Gold. It is Stewart, Dave Wharton. Vadim Yarushik of the Soviet Union over in lane 3 is currently third, but it is a battle between the 2 Americans, John.
And they're looking at each other. Melvin Stewart breathing to the right. He knows his rival is the other American. Wharton, working a lot on butterfly this year, is becoming a real threat.
Melvin Monroe Stewart breathing every other stroke, and he'll touch the wall first. It is Stewart. Wharton finishing 1-2 at a time of 1:58.94.
That's a good swim, a sub 2 minutes. Very great.
And it is 20-year-old Melvin Stewart from Fort Mill, South Carolina. Will be a sophomore at Tennessee coming up this fall.
Melvin not too pleased with that time, but he should have been. It was a good swim.
Melvin Stewart wins the 200 fly. It's the last day of competition for the Alamo Cup. The Soviet Union and the United States next on U.S. Olympic Gold. On the campus of Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia, it's the United States and the Soviet Union in the Alamo Cup dual swim meet. And a very pleasant good evening, everyone. I'm Ron Thulin, welcoming you to more exclusive live swim coverage right here on U.S. Olympic Gold. My broadcast partner once again, Olympic gold medal winner John Neighbor. John, the United States team fresh from Tokyo, Japan. The Soviets from the European Championships. Will fatigue be a factor tonight?
Clearly it will be. They've both gone through their national championships, and they've both flown across a major ocean a couple of times just to get here for this, an ongoing series of dual meets. This in the season America has never lost against the Soviets. It's going to be an interesting contest. We've got a lot of new names entering the sport as well.
Well, if there is a positive side, both teams are fairly young. They may be able to come back a little bit quicker.
Well, clearly, this is a post-Olympic year, a lot of opportunity because of the graduation of people above them. Mary Ellen Blanchard, a top name in American swimming, shattered records in the breaststroke this year. She'll definitely be a swimmer to watch, but she won't go unchallenged. The Soviets have a lot of versatile depth, and Elena Volkova and Svetlana Kuzmina, between them, 14 medals at their national championships. In the men's competition, America does very well. We've got world record holders in Mike Barrowman, who broke the record at the Nationals, had it broken by a European, broke it back again at the Pan Pacs. David Wharton regained his position as world record holder in the individual medleys. And of course, the favorite in American swimming today in the distance events is young Janet Evans. She'll be the woman that everybody is watching here.
Well, John, what it amounts to is very exciting competition. It's the Soviet Union and the United States in the Alamo Cup.
U.S. Olympic Gold, a TBS Sports exclusive, is brought to you by Alamo Rent-A-Car. Get behind the wheel of a fine General Motors car from Alamo, and you can get all the miles free. By Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by Diet Coke. Just for the taste of it, the move is on to Diet Coke.
Adolf Hitler, the true story of the monster within the man who seduced the nation. Inside the Third Reich, 8:05 Eastern on TBS tonight.
It's almost as if someone once said, just in case people like sunshine and water, we had better make Florida. And we'd better make miles of beautiful beaches, just in case people want to go to them. There are over 4 million miles of roads in Alamo territory, all across America. And nationwide, Alamo's the only company that can give you all those miles for free, including the 315 miles of sunshine on a road we call A1A.
1977. A farmer from Georgia assumed the nation's leadership. Millions mourned the loss of a legend. And NASA quietly launched an incredible machine. Now, after 12 years and 4.5 billion miles, mankind's greatest explorer is poised to make its last port of call in our solar system. Voyager, rendezvous with Neptune. 10 Eastern on TBS, Sunday night.
The World American and Soviet records for the men's 50-meter freestyle. Just 6 days ago, Tom Jager set the new World and American at 22:12. Jager has opted to bypass this meet. He will not be swimming this evening, but nevertheless, we have a very exciting field on hand. In lane 4 and in lane 2, the two Soviets. Vladimir Tkachenko in lane 4. He would have to be considered the one to beat.
He's certainly well-credentialed in the European circuit. The question is he still honed to a fine razor pitch right now? Tkachenko is very concentrated. Definitely a moody swimmer. We'll see if he can hold it together for 50 meters.
Katriaga in lane 2. Evgeny Katriaga.
Look how low he wears that swim cap. He doesn't want to let any water get into those goggles. It's sort of a style way he looks. But Steve Crocker, one of the best swimmers off the blocks. Very important for him to get off the box quickly. And, of course, with Biondi and Jager, the top two American sprinters, absent, Crocker is our main hope.
Crocker had the fourth fastest, or has the fourth fastest time ever in this event.
Come up, please, come up.
Uh-oh, somebody went in the water.
Okay, it's a 50-meter freestyle. The international rules say that you get 2 false starts, but on the third one, you're disqualified. The officials playing it very close to the chest, letting them take their turn.
Steve Crocker.
See what the rule is.
Was it Steve Crocker in lane 3? We'll take a look at it again. Maybe we'll be able to tell on our replay.
Okay, the command is take your marks, and then they're supposed to come stationary. And if there's a movement, we'll look for it. Look like right here. Top of the screen, and also down here, Mundus Mazuelos. No, it wasn't. That's probably Doug Boyd or Brent Lang.
Take your mark.
We are set. 50-meter freestyle.
Boy, it was Crocker. Man, right off the block.
Boy, he took off. Steve Crocker in lane 3. 26-year-old from St. Louis, Missouri.
He's going to win it off the start of that race. That was what did it for him. And he's holding nicely.
And also in lane 8, Dmitry Volkov. And in lane 7, Doug Boyd. Keep an eye on Boyd in 7. Boyd and Steve Crocker in 3. Let's see who touches. They come to the wall. And at the touch in lane 4, the winner, Vladimir Tkachenko of the Soviet Union. Steve Crocker finishes 2nd. And in lane 5, it is Brent Lang winding up 3rd. Sort of a surprise.
I would have bet the farm on Crocker. He had such a strong advantage off the start. Tkachenko must have come along on the draft. Now take a look. 3rd from the top is Tkachenko. You're taking a look at these swimmers, and in the white cap, he's got a slight lead. He does it on the touch. As he reaches to the wall, he just gets Crocker out of lane number 3, just above him.
Let's take a look at it from head on.
Look at this. High elbows, deep digging into the water, and a very strong. You can almost see the wave behind them, following them. It's a 6-inch surf. Look at it cresting over the side of the lane lines. That's the power that these swimmers are drawing with them with the super deep kick. And it came down to hundredths of a second to the finish. Tkachenko wins it, the European champion.
The Soviets finish 1-2 in the European Championships. Tkachenko wins it in a new meet record of 22:67. Crocker just 0.02 of a second behind, and Brent Lang right in the pack also. He winds up 3rd. Atlanta, Georgia is the city. Emory University is the place. And we'll be back with more of Alamo Cup competition as U.S. Olympic gold continues.
Sunday, Ben Gazzara must find a spy, or his mission and his men will be lost. Fireball forward. 7 Eastern on TBS Sunday.
It's It's almost as if someone once said, just in case people like sunshine and water, we had better make Florida. And we'd better make miles of beautiful beaches, just in case people want to go to them. There are over 4 million miles of roads in Alamo territory, all across America. And nationwide, Alamo's the only company that can give you all those miles for free, including the 315 miles of sunshine on a road we call A1A.
I think you'll like this house.
Isn't this supposed to be haunted?
Haunted? What an absurd idea.
On TBS continues. 2 of last year's bowl champions hit the gridiron. Peter Tom Willis and the Fabulous Four lead Florida State.
An exciting beginning to our coverage from Atlanta, Georgia. Our next event, the women's 100-meter breaststroke. The world record, Silke Horner, in a time of 107.91. Tracy McFarland holds the American record, and Alana Volkova of the Soviet Union, she holds the Soviet Union record. And we have to pick a favorite on this race. It would have to be the young hometown lady herself, Mary Blanchard from Norcross, Georgia, the youngest female member of the team, just 16 years old, from north of Atlanta.
And indeed, when she was introduced to the crowd, an awful lot of applause for Mary Ellen. And indeed, she's ought to be considered one of the top breaststrokers in the world. She's already set an American record in the 200-meter breaststroke. The 100 meters has eluded her, so we're looking forward to seeing a lot of swimming out of her. This is Elena Volkova, the top Soviet breaststroker, one of the few Soviet women who smiles for our cameras. So we enjoy watching her swim. And indeed, Svetlana Kuzmina in lane number 3 will be next to Mary Ellen Blanchard. So we'll be watching these athletes do their job. Breaststroke is a strong suit for the Soviets.
In fact, the Soviets finished 1, 2, and 3 in the 200-yard breast, with Volkova winning. We talked about the youngest swimmer in Mary Ellen Blanchard. The oldest swimmer for the Soviet Union on the female side is Volkova.
Young and the old, 2 lengths of the pool breaststroke. Mary Ellen's proven herself in the distance. This is a lot shorter race. Now look at Volkova with her hands coming out of the water on the recovery. It's a nice high recovery, nice looping stroke as we watch her on the right-hand side of the screen. See her hands exiting the water as she comes out.
Well, it is Volkova and Mary Ellen Blanchard swimming 1-2 right now as they finish the first 50, and they're on the home stretch. In lane 2, 33:48 is the time for Mary Ellen Blanchard.
Surprised she's this far ahead at the 50. The crowd's really getting behind her, too. It's really exciting.
She had a taste of international experience earlier this year in Monte Carlo, and it may pay off now.
She's struggling. She's working hard, but I think the field's catching her now.
And it is 2 and 5. Lanes 2 and 5. It is Blanchard and Volkova, the United States and the Soviet Union. 1-2. The final 15 meters.
Look at the hands coming out of the water. A rapid turnover. She's able to get a lot more strokes in a few seconds.
Mary Ellen Blanchard begins to fade. In lane 5, it is Elena Volkova of the Soviet Union who has already captured the 200-yard breast. She wins the 100-yard breaststroke. In lane 3, Svetlana Kuzmina of the Soviet Union finishes second, and Mary Ellen Blanchard winds up third.
Watch her. Volkova in the white cap in the foreground. You see her hands coming out of the water. That did not used to be legal. Now it is. They've changed the rules to allow the more undulation in the stroke. This wave action has proven very effective, probably introduced to a small degree by Tracy Calkins a couple of years ago. See her as we get right to the wire here. You see the rapid turnover. She's taking about 4 strokes for 3 of everybody else's. A very quick turnover due in large part to a rapid kick and a rapid recovery above the surface of the water. Very effective.
Well, it is a new meet record at 1:07 for Elena Volkova of the Soviet Union, 21 years old. She wins it. There we see her time, 1:10.07. Kuzmina of the Soviet Union is second, and Mary Ellen Blanchard of the United States is third in the women's 100-meter breaststroke. A lot more swim competition coming up live from Atlanta, Georgia, as U.S. Olympic gold continues in a moment.
Everywhere you look, people are reaching for the real cola taste of Diet Coke. The real one.
Just for the taste of it.
The move is on to Diet Coke.
Diet Coke.
We'll
record holder Jackie Joyner-Kersee.
I think it's great that the Goodwill Games are here in America because you're going to see some fantastic performance and some fantastic people.
Winning is the name of the games, the 1990 Goodwill Games.
Sunday, the raging Rhino, Ryne Sandberg, sparked Chicago's surge to the top. But Mr. Comeback, Lonnie Smith, and Atlanta are determined to play spoiler. Live at 2:05 Eastern on TBS, Sunday.
Nissan dealers across the country are ready to run a marathon. The Nissan Marathon, ready to pass along up to $1,500 in dealer cash incentives on Sentra. And up to $2,000 on every Nissan hard-body truck. They're going all out on Maxima, the most trouble-free car sold in the U.S. And the hot 240 SX. But hurry.
Swim Center in Atlanta, Georgia for more competition at the Alamo Cup. We are very privileged to have with us tonight the Soviet national team director, a good friend of John Neighbor, Vladimir Solnikov. And John's with him right now. John?
Thanks, Ron. Vladimir, congratulations. You've now entered a new career, that as coach. What are some of your goals for the Soviet swim team?
I think we need to develop club level. The better we do it, more swimmers come to the national team, and the better our success be.
Well, certainly you've enjoyed a lot of success in your years. Can you reflect on some of the highlights of your swimming career?
Yeah, I think we can start with the Moscow Olympic Games. First time I got my gold medal there. First time I broke the world record in 1500 freestyle, swim under 15 minutes. So it was a tremendous moment of my life.
Now in the Goodwill Games in 1986, you set a record as well.
Oh, yeah. And this after the 2 or 3 years when I was out of the scene, and we can, you know, I got luck there and broken the world record at 800 freestyle. So
you got your wife in the water with you.
That's right. This is funny, and we were both we were happy.
Happy and very moved by the moment, we can also tell during the award ceremonies. That was not to be your final award ceremonies, though, because last summer at the 1988 Summer Olympics, by your own admission, 99% of the people didn't give you even a chance to win the gold. Yet something even more impressive than your gold medal victory in Seoul occurred in the cafeteria after the award ceremony.
Yeah, that's right. When I came back from the pool to the cafeteria, I saw about maybe hundreds of athletes. They are not only swimmers, they are track and field, maybe others. So, and they're applauding and they crying, Vladimir, Vladimir. So I was so impressed. You know, it's cost not less than the gold medal.
Well, you announced your retirement from swimming shortly thereafterwards, and with your retirement, all the attention and distance swimming went to the young Janet Evans. What is it about this young girl that makes her so good?
First time I saw her at the Goodwill Games, well, and she has a lightweight. She laying on the surface of the water and using stroke like you can compare with a hydroplane. Yeah, of course she did a great lot of work, and that's why she swims so fast. But her technique and the strokes are very unclassical.
Let's take a look at her now.
Yeah.
John and Vladimir, there she is. The women's 400-meter freestyle world record holder, Janet Evans, 4:03.85. Did it, of course, in 1988, and what a success story for this young lady. She didn't give it up with the Olympics. She just kept on going and has had a very successful season thus far. The lane assignments for the women's 400 free. Janet Evans in lane 5. There will be an open lane next to her in 6. Julie Cole will be in 7 with an open lane in 8.
8 lengths of the pool freestyle. She knows how to win the gold medal. And in fact, many people expect that she won't be challenged at all. And Vladimir, I have to ask you, many races you came into being heavily favored with no one to challenge you. How do you get motivated for a competition that no one's going to be close to you?
You know, sometimes you need to pursue yourself. You need to struggle with the time, with the stopwatch, not with the rivals.
What do you tell your young swimmers that are swimming against a Janet Evans, and you know that she is so dominating?
Yeah, I think the more important thing to say to them that they can improve their own results, and it's a step forward. So if they're doing this, it's okay.
You talked when you spoke with John about not such a classic style, but it works. Would you teach that to one of your swimmers, or if you saw one of them?
You know, she used the style. She trained this. So, but I don't teach my teammates this style.
Well, the recovery is unorthodox at the very least, but because of her light frame, perhaps it's easier for her. And you mentioned that she stays on top of the water nicely.
You know, I say you can compare it with a hydroplane. It's completely on the surface on the water, and because of lightweight. And I think she using your power is very effective.
Well, we saw the 100-meter split, 6/100ths under world record pace. And of course, the world's record is held by Janet Evans, and it would be ironic if she could set it. She told us earlier that she's very, very tired from the Pan Pac. Can she do it, John?
Well, physically, it's a short race for a woman who trains for the 800. But then again, it's been a long season. She's already broken the record. She's broken world records this summer. She's being pushed by Mitzi Kramer from Clemson, her teammate. You've got to assume that the two of them know where they are with respect to each other, and so Janet knows what her splits are. Pretty close.
Well, Janet Evans will be celebrating her 18th birthday on Monday. This would be quite a birthday present. She has already captured one race here, the 800-meter free, and a new meet record on Thursday night.
Vladimir, does she look tired at all?
Yeah, I think she felt tired a little bit, yeah. And I know it for sure because I spent a lot of races like this. And I think our team same type as yours. And she could do it. Yes, she can.
And Janet Evans
very close to it.
Janet Evans is still ahead of world record pace. And she talks about the crowd. Does it help or does it hurt?
I don't think the fans and the crowd are becoming a distraction because I just focus on my own swimming, and if I'm pleased with my swim, I am. You know, I don't really worry about what everyone else thinks about my swim as long as I'm happy with it, because I'm the one that's put in all the work. And actually, the crowd, when I'm trying to break a world record, the crowd really helps, especially my longer events, because I can hear them and they make a lot of noise when I'm on pace. So it really helps.
A standing room only crowd in Atlanta, Georgia, and they are urging Janet Evans on to a possible another world record.
You know, the last time she set this world record, she was flanked on either side by swimmers from East Germany who were very strong and very big. Look at the world record split. 3:03.40 is the time we're looking for at the turn. And Janet looks to be holding on to a very strong lead over the field, just a little bit off the pace in that 300.
Does she know she's off the pace, or does she sense that right now?
Got to be thinking it's the crowd noise that's telling her she thinks she's on pace. Vladimir?
Yeah, right. It's for the crowd. She could think she's still in the pace, yeah.
For the last 100, she needs to go 58.4. Vladimir, you have been in this position. Did you ever hear the crowd? Did you feel the excitement like this?
Yes, I always feel the crowd. And, I got much support from it.
Janet Evans coming up, touching the wall. 3:36.62 is her time. Listen to the crowd in Atlanta.
Very supportive. The winner of this race is not in question, but they want to see a big time.
There is a lot of pressure on young Janet Evans every time she goes to the pool. People want an American record, a world record. But right now, she is swimming for herself and swimming well.
There's not much of a kick left as she comes to the wall. Not a lot of power in her feet. It's still a good swim. 4:06.97 is a very good swim. And let's also give credit to Mitzi Kramer, who just came in second. Helped push Janet along for the first 200 meters. I don't see a lot of joy with the time. I think I see more relief on her face than anything else.
Let's take a look at the stroke again that has made Janet Evans so famous. Vladimir?
Yeah, she didn't use the kick, you know, and it's unusual. I think if you compare with East German girls, they always use very high kick working at the end of the race, just sprinting.
In fact, her head seems to be submarining into the water there. It's like she's trying to do it with upper body, and there's not much left in the legs.
Well, Janet Evans swims the 9th fastest time ever in this event. She wins it very convincingly. She has now won 24 races in a row. 4:06.97 is her time. That is a new meet record. Mitzi Kramer of the United States is second, and Julie Cole of USA is third. Vladimir Solnikov, thank you for being with us. Best of luck in your training of your Soviet athletes.
Thank you
Just about 5 miles away watching our competition in our studios is our Craig Sager. Let's check in with Craig right now.
Thanks, Ron. Records are made to be broken, and although Janet Evans is the greatest middle distance swimmer in history, even her marks are sure to be erased one day. Just look at Mark Spitz. He set 26 individual world records, but today, not a single one of his world marks ranks among the top 25 performances in those respective events. So it is in track and field, where recently 4 world records were erased within a matter of days. first. Roger Kingdom taking the place of Ronaldo Nehemiah in the 110 hurdles, a spot that Nehemiah had held in the record books 8 years. 2 days later, Arturo Barrios became the first Mexican runner to hold a world record, this in the 10K. And then again, 2 days later, Saito Ida broke the 3,000 mark set by Henry Rono in 1978, the longest standing individual track record. The 4x200 relay record had also stood since 1978. But this past Wednesday, Carl Lewis had forecast his fleet-footed team would shatter the mark, which they did. With Lewis running the anchor leg, the Santa Monica Track Club turned in a time of 1 minute, 19.38 seconds, shaving nearly a second off the record set by the University of Southern California. Danny Everett, Leroy Burrell, and Floyd Hurd now share the mark with Lewis. There were predictions that the records would continue to fall to meet last night in Brussels, Belgium. But it was not a night for records, but rather one for umbrellas. Carl Lewis finished a distance 5th to Brazil's Robson da Silva in the 200. And Saito Ida went after the mile record, but fell nearly 4 seconds shy of the mark set by Steve Cram. The final track meet of the year is next weekend in Monte Carlo. U.S. Olympic Gold is proud to present the IAAF Mobile Grand Prix Finals. An outstanding field, including Oida, Lewis, and Kingdom. Be sure to join us next Saturday. In Atlanta this Saturday, the Prince of Monaco, Prince Albert. He's in attendance at the Alamo Cup swim meet as a member of the International Olympic Committee. Prince Albert will be in Atlanta until Sunday. From there, he travels to San Juan for the IOC's annual meeting. Also going to San Juan, Atlanta Mayor Andrew Young, who's leading a 35-member delegation hoping to bring the 1996 Summer Olympics to Atlanta. Athens, Greece is also in the running, but Prince Albert says despite the sentimental popularity, Greece is having a lot of problems, both politically and economically. The United States and the Soviet Union are strong rivals, not only in Olympic competition, but also in dual competition, such as the Alamo Cup. The two countries also went head-to-head last night in soccer. The U.S. national team against the club champion from the Soviet Union in an exhibition game in Philadelphia. Just 12 minutes into the match, John Stolmeyer of the U.S. stole the ball from a Soviet defender at midfield. He fed Eric Eichmann, who converted a 3-on-1 break with a shot off the left post. U.S. goalkeepers David Vanoli and Jeff Dubek held off a Soviet offense to preserve the shutout. The Soviets came close to tying the score with 2 minutes to play, but the young squad from the U.S. coached by Bob Gansler was able to hold on to defeat the veteran club champion 1-0.
You see the exuberance of youth out here, and sometimes we don't make the best of decisions because we want to do things too well. But on the other hand, I think the fans enjoyed it, and that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to give a good version of ourselves.
The U.S. national team now resumes qualifying competition for the 1990 World Cup with a game September 17th against El Salvador and Honduras. Just 2 of the 5 teams in the zone qualify. Although currently in 3rd place, the U.S. has 4 games remaining to make up ground on Trinidad and Tobago. The last time the U.S. qualified for the World Cup finals was 1950. With or without the Americans, we will televise the World Cup from Italy in June on TNT. Coming up next, the men's 200-meter breaststroke from the Alamo Cup in Atlanta with world record holder Mike Barrowman.
It's almost as if someone once said, just in case people like sunshine and water, we had better make Florida. And we'd better make miles of beautiful beaches.
Spring's eternal when elephant seals return to Año Nuevo Island for a little hugging, a little kissing, and a little... They'll fight for the right to be blubber lovers. 9 p.m. Eastern on TBS, Sunday night.
Someday, when I'm awfully low, when the world is cold, I will feel a glow just thinking of you and the way you look tonight.
The night belongs to Michelob.
Folks, I got a news flash for you. It's the news in New Mexico, New Orleans, New York, New Hampshire, too. McDonald's new country-style McChicken sandwich. It's unanimous in Washington for special country seasoning. In Alaska's chill or Miami's heat, they love that all-white breast meat. Yeah, it's Coca-Cola and a hot McChicken for the country taste. The whole country's digging. This just could make McDonald's famous. New country-style McChicken at McDonald's.
Welcome back to U.S. Olympic Gold. Until recently, the world record in the men's 200-meter breaststroke had only been broken 4 times since 1974, and never by an American. But now twice in the month of August, the world record has been broken by Mike Berriman from the University of Michigan. March Madness belonged to the Wolverines, and so does August Assault. Let's go to Ron Thulin and John Neighbor for the men's 200-meter breaststroke.
Yeah, Craig Sager was mentioning Mike Berriman, the world and American record holder, and he holds the record in our next event, the men's 200-meter breaststroke, 2:12.89, set at August 20th, 1989, just 6 days ago. And we also see the Soviet record as we look at the field for the men's 200-meter breast this evening. And speaking of Mike Berriman, he will be right in the middle of your picture in lane 4, the world and American record holder.
No, it's going to be very interesting to see if Mike can continue to turn in those world standard performances he's been doing all summer long. 20 years of age. He wanted the gold at the Olympic Games. He felt extremely disappointed. More than that, he felt he disappointed the rest of his support group, his family, his coaches, when he didn't get that. So for the last 12 months, he's been training to regain that position of prominence. He's now the record holder, and it's a title you have to bear with dignity.
He has the white cap, fair start. You mentioned about the fact that he wants to push for the world records. He told us earlier that he's not really swimming for the records anymore. He just wants to be competitive, and he really wants to just go out and try to win. And if the records come, so be it. Pretty good attitude.
Well, he's got the records, and he doesn't have to worry about that. Watch him in the white cap in the center of your screen. Berriman's coach, Josef Nagy, has taught him an undulation, a moving stroke that's, frankly, sweeping the technique across the world. Very interesting to watch. He comes high and he uses his entire body to lunge forward and down. And look at this. He's very close to world record split. 0.2 of a second slower than his world record pace. But as I recall, the times he's done the record, it's all been in the 3rd and 4th 50 anyway.
Exactly that. In fact, we saw him in Los Angeles, that the fact that he jumped in the water, he dove in, his goggles started to fall off. He said his last 50 was his best when he set the world record in L.A. What about the Soviets on either side? Does that help or hinder Mike Berriman?
I don't think Berriman thinks that there's anybody in the pool that's going to be within a body length of him at the turn, and certainly nobody's going to push him to the finish. The question is, how close will he be to the world record split? Here he comes to the turn, still 0.2 of a second off. That's plenty close. We're not out of range at all. Berriman looks very strong. Look at how his hips come up when his shoulders go down, and the reverse is true on the other side.
The wave action breaststroke technique is probably the proper term. A good shot of 20-year-old Mike Berriman from Rockville, Maryland. He will be a junior at Michigan this fall. You talk about his coach, Josef Nagy. He said that Josef really pushes him, and that's the type of coach he wants.
He's had good splits in the first 250s. He needs to split 34s on the back 250s. We're looking for 38.63 at the turn. We're still 0.2 of a second. You know, he might hear the crowd. The crowd is now getting on their feet, and you can't hear that in breaststroke more than any other stroke.
He said he heard the crowd in Los Angeles, and he thought to himself, I must be swimming well. He didn't realize he would set the world record. Listen to the sellout crowd at Emory University.
He's all alone. He's all alone, but he's got to hear the sound. And we know he can do it. Just 6 days ago, he did this record.
Let's see if the fatigue takes over. 2:12.89 is what we're looking for. Here comes Berriman. He touches the wall just off the record. However, he does shatter the meet record set 7 years ago, which was 2:17.04, but Mike Berriman in a time of 2:13.25. A very happy man wins the men's 200-meter breaststroke.
A very valiant attempt. We know he was going for the record. Now let's take a look at what he does differently. You may remember the Soviet women recover with their hands above the water. See those hands popping out? That gets him higher in the water, enables him to lunge forward and basically lurch downward as he enters the water. When he's going down with his body, his hips and legs are coming up, providing some sort of a dolphin action. You look how far back the other 3 swimmers are and how smooth he looks. Now this is the end of the race, and he's got to be feeling the pain. I mean, it's a difficult combination to get your hands and your legs perfectly synchronized in perfect rhythm, and he's doing it well. I think this is going to be the class of breaststroke in America for years to come.
He said he trained so hard this summer that his mother and his girlfriend didn't necessarily like him. He trained so hard, but now he's going to take some time off before heading up to Ann Arbor, Michigan for Michigan. That is the 4th fastest time ever in the world this year, as Mike Berriman wins it in the time of 2:13.25. Lozik of the Soviet Union finishes 2nd, and Ron Carnot winds up 3rd in the men's 200-meter breaststroke. But it is Mike Berriman, the world record holder, with the victory this evening. We have seen Mike Barrowman and another world record holder who set his mark also in Tokyo, Japan 6 days ago, Dave Wharton in the 200 IM. And last night, Dave swam in his specialty. Let's pick up the action. We are keeping our eye on lane 5. Dave Wharton, 3 swimmers under world record pace thus far. As they come to the wall. And there are 50 meters remaining in the 200-meter IM, and they are just slightly off world record pace.
Dave Wharton, who was doing so well halfway through the race, was passed by Carno. Carno breathing to his right, looking at Wharton. But Wharton's got the best freestyle leg at the end of an IM I've ever seen.
With 15 meters remaining, it is Dave Wharton leading the pack at 200-meter IM. He comes to the wall, touches the wall. He finishes first in a time of 2:01.64. Winding up second, it is Ron Carno. And in lane 4, Vadim Rawushik of the Soviet Union finishes third. But Dave Wharton is our winner.
Dave Wharton looking very relieved that the race was over. It looks like he went out for it with all he had. Probably spent too much on the front half of the race. As he's coming home, he has just enough to coast into the finish. Ron Carno at the top takes the silver medal, and there Yaroshuk in between them takes the bronze. Here's Wharton swimming towards the finish. A good freestyle. It gave him a body length on the field, which was all he needed for a comfortable victory, but it was nowhere near the world record that he set just less than a week ago.
2-time NCAA Swimmer of the Year. He says he still feels he has better times ahead. As we look at the final results, men's 200-meter individual medley, Dave Wharton of the United States, 2:01.64 is his time, just off his world record, and Ron Carno of the United States is second. Vadim Yaroshik of the Soviet Union is third. So Dave Wharton wins the men's 200-meter individual medley. Of course, Wharton is the world record holder, and we had a chance to talk to Dave about that world mark.
The U.S. Nationals was a great meet for me, and I had some of my lifetime best swims, and I'm really happy with that. But there's not a feeling like owning a world record, which is really what I wanted to accomplish this summer. And going into Tokyo, that's what my goals were. And before my race in Tokyo, I'd had a good meet in Tokyo up to then, but the feeling was something I really wanted badly. And then during the race, I was concentrating specifically on my technique and my speed, and I heard the crowd starting to go wild and my coach doing his little shuffle, so I knew I was doing something great, so I focused on my swim and just pushed to the end.
We'll return to Atlanta, Georgia, and more competition from the Alamo Cup as U.S. Olympic gold continues.
Nina Cherry, Stevie Nicks, and Fine Young Cannibals. On Night Tracks Chartbusters every Saturday night, exclusively on TBS.
We are back to Emory University, Woodruff PE Center, a capacity crowd on hand here in Atlanta, Georgia, and they are giving quite a round of applause from Mike Barrowman, who has captured his race, the 200, just a few minutes ago. Our next event, the women's 400 IM, the world record, 4:36.10. Janet Evans holds the American mark set in 1988, 4:37.76, and of course the Soviet mark, 4:40.44. And the swimmers are making their entrance right now as we speak. Janet Evans in the red shirt, the dark cap. She has already won everything she's competed in thus far in the past 2 days. 2 victories so far for young Janet Evans. And she just got back from Tokyo, as we mentioned at the top of the show, John. It was an incredible trip for this young lady. They were chanting Evanson, Evanson. They were mobbing her around the pool. She says it was an incredible experience.
Not only is she able to swim well in the water, she also conveys a great sense of personality to the crowd. It's been a long time since the United States has had such a gem that they can take internationally and have the throngs of adoring fans. And Janet, I must say, is taking it relatively well.
Exactly.
She's just a high school senior going into her first year in college, and she's got a lot of maturity, and she still has a lot of demands placed upon her. I didn't expect her to swim this well the year after the Olympics. Bingo, she gets a world record the first year afterwards.
Well, she said she wanted to have this year off, just relax, but it lasted only 1 week. She said she got bored and had to get right back in the pool. The lane assignments for the women's 400 IM. Yulia Bogachova of the Soviet Union will be in lane 3. Janet Evans, of course, in 4. Iana Shamarova of the Soviet Union in 5. And Michelle Griglione in lane 6. And that is for young Janet Evans. Speaking of maturity, John, just 1 year ago, Janet Evans was 5'5", 98 pounds. She is now 5'6", 110 pounds. So she is indeed growing up. And she will be 18, as we mentioned earlier, on Monday.
And that makes it 23 or 23 years old at the next Olympics. And that's a little thing to think about as well, because she's no longer going to be America's darling. She's now the woman people are trying to knock off the pedestal. 11 workouts a week, about 4.5 hours a day for this young lady. And this is on a year after the Olympics. That is a lot for someone who is so successful in the Olympics. .400 IM is a distance event, but it mixes all 4 of the competitive strokes.
Janet Evans swimming in lane 4. This is 8 lengths of the pool. Lane 1, of course, at the top of your screen. Lane 8 at the bottom. 2 Americans and 2 Soviets. Our final event of the evening, the women's 400. And right now, Michelle Griglione in lane 6, the 20-year-old from Alexandria, Virginia, has a slim lead.
I think there's 2 things for certain going to happen in this event. Number 1, Janet's going to win. Number 2, Janet's going to take the meet record, because she does times in practice that are faster than the existing meet record set by Patty Gavin in 1981.
Well, this is Janet's last race of the summer. She heads to Stanford right after this for her freshman season. This must be an important race for her. I mean, this kind of ends the 1989 season.
It is a swan song for the season. It's kind of funny. She says after this race, I'm not even going to swim it down. I'm not even going to loosen up.
Michelle Griglione and Janet Evans currently swimming 1 and 2. Janet Evans has won 25 races in a row, 37 of her last 39, and that is an incredible streak.
Michelle Griglione leading in the white cap. You see her elbows are higher than her wrists on the recovery. Janet has that traditional straight arm recovery that she uses so effectively in freestyle. She does it as well in the butterfly.
Of course, Michelle Griglione will be a teammate of Janet Evans come this fall. Griglione will be a junior at Stanford. Evans just a freshman.
I would think that this is probably Janet's weakest of the 4 strokes. It's difficult to do because you've got to balance your momentum with the fact that you want to save some legs for the back half of the race. So you can't overkick the backstroke, but you can't underkick it either. And she's doing okay. She's passing Michelle in this leg, which is an indication of how strong Janet really is.
Exactly. Janet already has 2 meet records, of course, in the 800 free on Thursday night, the 400 free on Friday. Both new meet records for the Alamo Cup.
That was a nice turn for her. A nice back-to-back turn in the IM shows that she didn't take it the easy route and do an open sit and spin turn. She rolled right through it. It'll be interesting to watch her turning on the back to breaststroke at this next wall, if she'll have the same aggressive in and out of the wall. Aggression in and out of the turn shows whether or not she's really working at it, going for the time, if you will, or merely trying to hold on to her lead.
And it is Janet Evans in lane 4. Michelle Griglione in lane 6. And the crowd here in Atlanta, standing room only, enjoying what they're seeing thus far.
That was an aggressive turn. She reached for the wall, put her head underwater, did a quick turn, a rather fast turn. Long underwater pull in the breaststroke. That hurts the lungs more than anything. And with 4 lengths to go, Janet's already opened up a comfortable 2 body length lead. We talk 2 body lengths for Janet is 1.5 for anybody else.
Exactly that. We talk about the capacity crowd here. We also have royalty. Prince Albert of Monaco also in attendance this evening. Part of the IOC, the Olympic Committee, visiting Atlanta as Atlanta makes their bid for a potential Olympic site in the coming years.
Look at Janet. Nice, strong breaststroke. Arms pulling wide, not slowing down on the recovery, so she's still working towards increasing her lead. She's not settling for the victory here. She's trying to turn in a good swim, and that's nice to see.
She talked about how tired she was when she got back from Tokyo. She said she was still getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. In fact, her roommate woke up at 5 a.m. and started eating pretzels the other morning. And she says, I don't get much sleep because I'm still on time at the Tokyo time. But she is not showing the effects of it right now. 17-year-old Janet Evans with the lead. The crowd chanting stroke with her.
You know, you wonder as these athletes are performing at world record performances, 12 time zones apart their natural time zone. I wonder if the NFL football players could do that well.
Broadcasters cannot do that well, John. we leave for Monte Carlo on Tuesday, and I'll be a basket case for 5 days until our track on U.S. Olympic Gold next Saturday.
2 lengths to go, and Janet's beginning to do her favorite stroke, the freestyle. She blows them away here. She's a long way off the record, but we're still looking for a meet record of 4:51.74.
This is her strength, as Vladimir Soldikov said, not a very classic style, but a very effective one for Janet Evans.
That's all the official scorekeeper needs. Touch the wall quickly.
Here comes Janet Evans. She will touch the wall. 50 meters remaining in the women's 400-meter IM in the Alamo Cup. The Soviet Union and the United States as they wrap up 3 days of competition in Atlanta.
I've got to think that going through Janet's mind right now is I got less than 50 meters left in the season. I mean, it's not just left in the race. If I'm done when I hit this wall.
And September 21st, she will be just another student at Stanford. At least that is Janet Evans' wish. Janet Evans finishing up the women's 400 IM. She will win it easily as expected. Michelle Griglione will finish second for the United States. Here comes Janet Evans to the cheers of the crowd in Atlanta.
A new meet record by 10 seconds. You saw that picture, the large picture of the pool, how far ahead she was over the field. America's Michelle Griglione comes in for the silver medal. That's it. Look at that. It's over. That's written all over her face.
And ironically, Michelle Griglione also broke the meet record. So both Americans broke the meet record. Let's take a look at Janet Evans, a little up close and personal. We know her freestyle. Let's take a look at everything else.
Well, the butterfly, she's getting her body way out of the water. That probably has more to do with the light weight of her body than it is over the power of her kick. And that arm recovery, straight arm. I don't recommend that, but it works for her.
Well, they're singing happy birthday to Janet Evans. As we mentioned, it is Monday, her birthday.
Look at her backstroke. Trying to keep her head still, rotating nicely. Good form, but her head seems to be turning a bit, favoring the left side. In fact, even when she walks on dry land, her head seems to favor her left side a little bit. After the backstroke, where she pretty well asserted her lead, the breaststroke was where she began to pull away. Look at the nice high breaststroke. Nice, strong, wide pull. Her arms are not coming out of the water on the recovery quite as much, but she's trying to continue her lead, and she's not even glancing sideways. She knows she's got this race in the bag. This is a strong point for her. And then all the way home, look at that. The swimmer's in the other, going the other direction as she's got 50 meters remaining. Janet Evans, her technical peculiarities working for her in the freestyle. Straight arm recovery, strong, powerful kick. And the season comes to a conclusion for Janet Evans.
Well, John Neighbor, why don't you head down the pool side, and we will try to get young Janet Evans as the crowd of just about 1,000 to 1,500 surprised her by singing happy birthday. And it was quite a birthday present for Janet Evans. She wins 4:41.23, a new meet record in the women's 400-meter IM. Michelle Griglione is second in a time of 4:51.36. And Yulia Bogachova of the Soviet Union, just 18 years old, part of the very young Soviet team, 4:59.14, but it was all Janet Evans as she completes the sweep of her 3 events entered in the Alamo Cup. She has set 2 meet records, 3 meet records in all 3 events she has entered. And Janet Evans, much to the delight of the crowd, although no world or American records, she has thrilled this crowd nonetheless. As the U.S. men's swimmers up on the diving platform, this is a goodbye for this team. They have been together since the long course championships in Los Angeles. They go to Tokyo, and now they will part their separate ways, go to colleges, go to high schools around the United States. And the young lady who will be going to Stanford is with John Neighbor right now. John?
Janet, congratulations. The 3rd victory in this meet. You're the first woman ever in U.S.-Soviet dual meet history to win 3 events in a single championship. But something was going through your mind coming home. What were you thinking about?
It's been a real long month. We had our nationals in Los Angeles, and then we had the Pan Pacifics in Tokyo. So I was just thinking one more lap, and then I'm done, and then I can take a break before I start school.
Yeah, a break, a long deserved break. You haven't had much rest since even the Olympics of last summer.
I took 2 weeks off after Seoul, and then I went back to training. So I'm going to take about 2 or 3 weeks off now, and then go up to school and see how it goes.
The season, a long one, but a successful one for you. What does it tell you about next year? How do you feel about going into the following season?
I was really happy with this year for it being an off year after the Olympics, and to go an 8:16 and a 4:04 in my 400 and 800 freestyles. That just showed me that my swimming is still improving, and I'm still doing well, and I'm right on track to keep on going.
You basically stole America's heart at last year's Olympics. You come here, they're singing happy birthday to you, for goodness sakes. What kind of burden does that put on you?
Oh, I think it's a lot of fun. The fans are great, and they're the ones that keep me going, keep me swimming faster a lot of the times because, they just, it's just great. And that was so special. When they sang happy birthday, I was flattered.
As you grow older, you probably grow wiser, too. What have you learned about competing against the Soviets, about the world of international swimming in your position of leadership?
I've learned that, when I first started making my international trips, I was going on the trips to go to the country and see what the country was like. And I've learned that if the United States is going to send me all the way across the world to swim, that I'm going to represent my country as best I can and do the very best I can, because I am representing America, and that's the most important.
Next year, Goodwill Games, are going to see some more records?
Yes, I hope so. I think it'll be a really fast meet with all the East Germans and everyone. A lot of competition. I hope it goes good.
Good luck next year at Stanford. Good luck for the rest of your career in the sport of swimming.
Thank you, John.
Well done. Back to you, Ron.
Well, John, Coach Richard Quick is happy that she will be heading to Stanford and Palo Alto, California. Janet Evans, winner this evening of the 400 IM. Still to come on U.S. Olympic Gold, the Alamo Outstanding Performance of the Meet. We'll have that when we return. Stay with us.
U.S. Olympic Gold, a TBS Sports exclusive, has been brought to you by Alamo Rent-A-Car. Get behind the wheel of a fine General Motors car from Alamo, and you can get all the miles free. By Budweiser, Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by Diet Coke. Just for the taste of it, the move is on to Diet Coke.
Live from Atlanta, Georgia, as the USA Soviet Union Alamo Cup is just about to conclude. Safe to say the United States has an overwhelming team victory. Once again, they remain undefeated, as this is the 6th meeting between the two. And once again, as we talked about the pride factor, the swimmers have to feel good about themselves. They go to the Pan Pac, they swim extremely well. They come here, despite the jet lag and everything else, they still perform when they had them.
They did indeed. I mean, they swam well at the Pan Pacific Championships, and then in spite of jet lag, in spite of the distance and the length of the taper, they swam relatively well, and I don't think there's any reason to be disappointed with the American performance at this meet.
Well, the USA women, the average age is just 18 years old, and they had an overwhelming victory. And the men, well, the Outstanding Performance Award goes to Mike Barrowman for his effort in the 200-meter breast. And handing him the award is Norman Tripp, the principal of Alamo, in the presentation of the Alamo Outstanding Performance of the Meet. 20-year-old Mike Barrowman, the 200-meter breast, shattering the meet record.
I have to give him an awful lot of credit. He began the season with something to prove, and he proved it not once but twice, breaking his own world records. And here he came to the meet. All he had to do was win, really, but he went out for it. He exerted himself. He pushed himself to his limit, and frankly, getting within half a second of his own world record after the season he's had, that really is a remarkable performance. Well worthy of the Alamo Cup Award.
John, we have about 15 seconds. What's to look forward to now the rest of the year, the post-Olympic year?
Well, I think that's the end of this season. As far as the collegiate season is concerned, it'll start in October, November. We've got a long ways to go before the next Olympics, but they're already beginning to look to the Goodwill Games, and that'll keep them busy. Certainly something to shoot for.
1990, and you will see them live right here on TBS. We have had an exciting 3 days at Emory University in Atlanta. We are glad you have been part of this afternoon. For John Neighbor and our entire TBS crew in Atlanta, Georgia, we thank you so much for watching us today. I'm Ron Thula. Now let's go back to Craig Sager at our studios.
Well, thank you very much, Ron. The dual swimming competition between the United States and the Soviet Union began in 1971 with a world record by Mark Spitz. It continued today, not with a world record, but with another dominating performance by the U.S., which owns the series 6-0. The combined medal standings for the men and the women. The U.S. with 59 medals, 22 of them gold, 3 by Janet Evans. The Soviet Union with 25 medals, 7 of them gold. Next week, our traveling crew from U.S. Olympic Gold will descend in Monte Carlo. We'll bring you the IAAF Mobile Grand Prix Finals. It's the premier track meet of the year. Saeed Alwida will try to add to his collection of world records, but marks could also be established by the likes of Roger Kingdom, Carl Lewis, and Sergei Bubka. We hope you can join us next Saturday for the IAAF Mobile Grand Prix Finals from Monte Carlo. Until then, thanks for being with us for this week's edition of U.S. Olympic Gold.